friends.
Good morning.
Beautiful day, little bit of rain outside. I'm extremely happy, I'm really delighted, and more than that, I'm humbled because of your participation and presence in this beautiful hotel towards enriching the third annual Grand Achievers Award function. As you know, the Peace Council is an international organization we have founded in the state of Maryland with a good intention that we have to honor those people who are helping the helpless and those people who are promoting peace not only locally, internationally. When I speak about peace, peace at homes, peace at communities, societies, nations, and in civilizations. So, we are people working towards giving peace to the entire world universally, towards enriching and empowering people who aspire for peace. Today, again, I am very much humbled. My joy has no limits at my heart to see you all here and making this Grand Achievers Conference a grand success. And we have delegates from all over the world, trust me. We have delegates from Canada, we have delegates from India, and elsewhere, and of course, from our great nation, United States of America. And my apologies to you because we are a little late because of the reason that some are still finding it hard to reach our venue. As you know, Washington DC is a little complicated for people coming from the suburbs. Added to that, we have the weather conditions, so that's where it's not intentional, but I'm mandated to start this program some little bit late. Please excuse me for that, but there may be slight changes in the program, but the skeleton is same. You have a program sheet with you. That's all we are going to do, but maybe there is a little bit of back and forth in the order of the program. But I'm sure you will enjoy the entire day with us, and this is going to be very beautiful, and it is already beautiful because we have our chief guests, the recipients of the awards. Everyone is here and they are making the function, we are all making this function a grand success. When we are looking for the venue of the conference, the first inaugural conference was done. The first conference was in the Hotel Renaissance, just like 3 miles away from here, next to Washington White House. It was almost across White House, and some of our friends who are here, they came and made their presence and encouraged us. So last year, 2016, we were very successful in conducting the conference in Hilton in the Inner Harbor, Baltimore. So that was a shift in this date and all, but it was not the way that we planned it, yet it was a success. We made it a success. And this year, when we wanted to do this conference, we thought we will pick up a very, very beautiful site. Even if we are few in numbers, we need to have this meeting in a very beautiful place. And as you know, Gaylord is reasonably a very nice place for conferences, and it's a good resort. At the same time, they say that in the entire eastern coast of the United States of America, this is one of the best properties. And we picked up this place, and I'm glad that you are all here, and we really appreciate you. The intention of the conference and also this Peace Council is to patronize, help, and to encourage and honor all the people who are working for peace. They are the source of peace. You know, we have 4,200 universities in United States. And every day so many innovations are happening, but very few of them are reported. And we have more than 200 nations in the world, but very few nations are always on the headlines of the news. So is the good people in society. You know, people are, not very generous to encourage the people who are doing for community or communities and helping the people. That's a habit for those people. Oh, whatever may be the criticism, whatever they say, God has a plan on me, I am going to help the people. That's how they take it for granted and go. But the real thing has to be that people who are supporting the people who are near and dear and people around them must be recognized. In our Tamil literature, there is a beautiful poem which would say, தொல் உலகில் நல்லார் ஒருவர் உளரேல் அவர் பொருட்டு எல்லோருக்கும் பெய்யும் மழை, which means God is sending down the rain, the waters, considering the goodness of few people, and all are benefited. Like a farmer, when he is directing the water for his crops, there are other living beings, they are also benefited by that. The biological, life around them are also benefited. That's how we look at the world, that we have though few people who are yearning to help others, irrespective of criticisms, irrespective of their difficulties, selflessness and everything, These are the great people here today and we are honoring. I don't want to say name after name because the right in the time, the afternoon sessions and all over the sessions, Dr. Janani, Shanti Omagandam and my friends, and of course my friend Dr. Tangamani, they are all going to tell their greatness, narrate it, so that you can see how important they are to our society, and they are here with a purpose. We are just gratified with your presence, your good works, and I remember the Sermon on the Mount where Jesus said, "Blessed are those peacemakers. They are the children of God." What else you want? So I see you all as the children of God doing a great service to the community, and during the entire process of this ceremony, you will see how great angels they are in helping the people and help each other. And definitely I am positive that with all your support and your friendliness and as well wishers, we will step up and move on in the future with great activities all over the world. And recently we started helping some of the people who are doing cleaning in India. In some of the cities in India, cleaning, we call it I don't like to pronounce the word, we call it as scavenging. And they are done by a lot of communities and in a most unscientific way. Recently, you may know, there was a spill of oil in Chennai, in our Tamil Nadu, in the ocean. And people were digging with small buckets in the ocean the hazardous material, which is oil. So like that, though we are living in a very advanced country, we have pockets of world where there are people who are still pushed back and they have very primitive system of life, and they even don't know what they are doing, and they have a lot of occupational hazards. So at least we are trying to supply them the gloves, the basic tools, some camps where we can teach them how to clean and protect their lives also, and they can be peaceful without disease. So there is a kind of disease prevention and all. So we are very, very grateful for your presence here, for championing the cause of peace and being here. I know how precious time is, and on a nice, beautiful Saturday like this, we have traveled from several places. Here, look at the table, very important people who are going to be our chief guests. They are coming again and again every year, and they are encouraging us, and so are our friends sitting all around, and they are going to get honored in this meeting for their great services. And I again welcome you to this August gathering, and though I say welcome, I thank you also, because and I pray, because you have taken such a pain to come here. You are being with us and you are making this conference a success. And I have a prayer to the Almighty that you stay here comfortably, enjoy comfortably, and you may reach back after the proceedings, after a sojourn, couple of days of stay here, safely. That's my prayer to the Almighty, that you will reach your places safely and back to your families. God bless you all, and now we are seeking the blessings of God, which comes in a short form of Bharatanatyam Dance, and I invite Preeti to come and perform her dance. Thank you very much. Thank you, Preeta Vikram. I'm sorry I could not tell your last name first. Yeah, it's an extraordinary job. You know, I'm an art critic and my PhD is on Shiva iconography, so I know what a difficult task to learn Bharatanatyam. Of course, my daughters, they are also good at it. Shanti, she can dance. So we are crowded with Bharatanatyam, and I'm sure a lot of our visitors and our friends are excellent in that, and they know to appreciate your art because they know the background of that, and we are really happy that you are. And Preeta Vikram is also a young entrepreneur, and in the afternoon she will be honored with the Young Achievers Award also, and she's a graduate. And thank you very much. And you set the mood for the start of the conference. Thank you very much. And now let me call Dr. Janani. Dr. Janani has come all the way from Madras, and she's a very popular personality in India. She would help us for the conduct of the conference along with Shanti Omagandam. And Dr. Janani has a speciality. She is a great motivational speaker, as well as she has a firm which is doing the law of attraction. So she is kind enough to come and encourage us, and she would now introduce one after another our chief guests and our participants, and now the conference is getting started. Please welcome Dr. Janani. She's very popular with a lot of NGOs in India, and also she is very popular in the Facebook. See, when she said, I'm going to United States, she put a picture, a map from Chennai to Washington DC, you know that, and there were like 2,000 people congratulated her. So she is here with the wishes of more than 2,000, 3,000 Facebook followers of hers. And she is such an inspiration for us in India with all our projects, including the Tamil and King's University. And let me welcome her. And also, now the day is for you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. How are you feeling?
Good.
Thank you. A warm welcome to Grand Achievers Convocation. So I take the pleasure of inviting the chief guest of the day, Honorable Mayor Judy Paul. Welcome. Mayor Judy Paul began serving the town of Devi in 1998 as the District of Council member. In 2007, after serving 3 times, she took a 2-year hiatus while remaining active in the community. In March 2009, she was sworn as the town's new mayor. She is currently serving her 3rd term as a dedicated full-time mayor who is passionate about her service to the town. Mayor Paul, an award-winning retired Broward country educator, holds a Master of Arts degree from Montclair State College, New Jersey. Her educational background and dedication to children is evident in the many projects she initiated and supports in the town. The mayor visits schools to read to classes, speaks about the role of municipal government, and attends career days. She initiated the Devi Public Affairs Academy, which is an internship program for high school students. Her support of the town's Youth, Education and Safety Advisory Committee YES, the Parks and Recreation programs, the Devi Police Explorer program, the Devi Police Athletic League PAL, allows her to use her experience as a classroom teacher to benefit the community. Our next chief guest of the day, Council Carol Hutton. Grew up in New York and holds an associate degree from Suffolk Country Community College and a Bachelor Science degree in Education from Stony Brook University. For 39 years, Ms. Hutton has been an educator in South Florida and has taught elementary through high school level students. Ms. Hutton recently retired from teaching and is enjoying her retirement and working as a full-time council member. Living in the same house since 1977, Ms. Hutton is a well-established, dedicated District 2 resident and is proud of the improvements that have been made in the district. Ms. Hutton will continue to work on the improvements to the infrastructure in District 2 and in the town of Devi. Ms. Hutton was elected to the town council in March of 2010 and was re-elected with a position in 2013. She was inducted into the Broward County Women's Hall of Fame in 2010 for her efforts towards empowering women to serve in public service. Thank you, Ms. Hutton. Our next chief guest, Ms. Eileen Ferguson, is a role model for those who are socially conscious. She started her career as a teacher in Mussoorie, India, teaching English to the school children. She was a professor and language instructor of UCLA. She is a world-class traveler and even recently has gone to Sri Lanka. While frequently traveling to Chennai, India, she would pick up a place to choose English language to those children who cannot afford to pay themselves. She is a most recognized humanitarian serving through charitable organizations. Thank you, Ms. Eileen. Our next chief guest, Mr. Thomas Axley, attorney of Axley Law Firm, began practicing law in 1970. He and his family moved to Maryland when Mr. Axley was 3 years old. He pursued his college education at the University of North Dakota. After college, he moved back to Maryland and attended the University of Maryland School of Law in Baltimore. In 1970, he was sworn into practice and returned to Calvert County a few years later. He was made the Calvert County his home ever since. The highlight of his career is when he served as an advisor to the most popular governor of Maryland, Honorary Louis Goldstein. He is a great lover of the Indian culture and Vedic philosophy. He can speak on Indian culture and its religious traditions with full understanding and clarity. A great humanitarian with his law office in Calvert County. Thank you, Mr. Thomas Axley. Our next chief guest, Mr. Xavier Nayagan, is a recently retired Indian Administrative Service officer from the state of Tamil Nadu, India. He served as a Commissioner of Social Welfare to the state of Tamil Nadu with a team of 12,000 employees who were mostly handling the social welfare matters from child care all the way up to the old age. He has a gigantic experience as an administrative officer and is keenly involved in several projects, both rural and urban. The crown of his philanthropy to the rural people is providing free communication tools such as phones and microfinancing through the church groups. He also encourages less expensive marriage, providing space in his own properties. He is a worldwide traveler of human experience. Thank you, Mr. Xavier. Our next chief guest, Dr. Sajjan Kurian. Dr. Sajjan hails from India and graduated from the Madurai Kamaraj University. An enthusiastic person of great interest in public life, he was instrumental for opening a statue for Mahatma Gandhiji in Florida. He is closely associated with the Democratic Party and he is committed to the security of the people of Southern Florida. He has a promising future and he is a rising star in the political horizons of United States of America. He has a son, Sean.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Rising star.
Thank you, Dr. Sajjan.
Thank you, Doctor.
Our next chief guest, Dr. Bruce Ferguson, a 21-year veteran and EVP of the UMS Banking, specializes in marketing. His background in advertising and marketing was the foundation for the interactive approach UMS shared with its client base. He is also the founder and executive director of Ferguson Humanitarian Foundation International. Dr. Ferguson has volunteered from 2005 to 2014 with Youth for Human Rights International as the South Asia Director. He is a past Toastmaster and current activist, receiving an honorary doctorate in 2009 for his international Youth for Human Rights activities, in which he ran the annual programs in South Asia. He is a great motivational speaker who is highly respected all over the world. Perhaps he is much more known in South Asian countries and can speak various South Asian languages. Thank you, Dr. Bruce. So over to Mr. Thomas Axley for the keynote address.
Dr. Kumar, participants, guests. It is and has been my great honor to have been asked to speak at all three conferences recognizing the grand achievers of the Indian culture in the United States. I again humbly accept the blessings you have bestowed on me and extend my sincere thanks to each and every one of you. At the first Grand Achievers Conference, I spoke in broad terms about the fact that each one of you are uniquely very special. The fact that every one of you are grand achievers. That the measure of your success and self-worth is not dependent on how well you are known or that your personal achievements have been recorded and publicized. I talked about the fact that self-confidence, though not egotism, is fundamental to grand achievements. You must believe in your abilities and know that you are doing that which is right in your own heart and mind. I also, at that belief, concluded with that each of you has the responsibility of encouraging the youth by instilling them with your positive attitude and values, and by letting the younger generation know that they too can be grand achievers. At the second conference, I talked about the many grand achievers from India who came to the United States and many Americans who were grand achievers whose parents were born in India. I talked about their achievements as scientists, as writers, as dancers, beautiful dancers. I talked about both men and women. I talked about how each of you are grand achievers in your own right. This year, Dr. Kumar brought me this book, Upanishads. I told him this book would be the key to this year's talk, and it is. To begin with, I'll go back 45, 50 years ago. I was starting law school. At the same time, I began an earnest spiritual quest to find the true meaning of life. I studied astrology, I read a translation of the Quran, I dabbled in this and I dabbled in that, but most of the time I found myself studying books from the Indian culture. I read a translation of the Bhagavad Gita. I read stories of Hindu ascetics. I read from the Vedas. I often sat quietly by myself in a yoga position and chanted Aum. I meditated with Siddhartha. I read and studied the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, whose personal deity was with Shiva. It was Sri Ramakrishna who encouraged me to return to my roots, to return to my Christianity. And I read the Bible, cover to cover, in its entirety, and again, and again, and again. Now, 45, 50 years later, Dr. Kumar brings me this book, Upanishads, and returns me to that period of the past. The Upanishads, in one manner or another, tells us how the devotee can break the cycle of rebirth and find oneness with God. The devotee must put aside all his worldly desires. The devotee must free himself of his worldly possessions. The devotee must commit himself to his teacher. The devotee must meditate endlessly. The devotee must seek the truth, gain knowledge, and find wisdom. The devotee must advance through the 7 chakras to reach nirvana. All of this may be true, but how can you be a grand achiever and be committed as a devotee at the same time? How can the dancer, the artist, or the actor be a grand achiever without an audience? Her or his dance or art or acting would say nothing and have no meaning. How can the doctor, the nurse, or the veterinarian be a grand achiever if he or she did not have medicine or diagnostic equipment or a syringe? How could they treat their patients? How could they save lives? How could the manufacturer, the distributor, the developer be a great grand achiever if he or she had no worldly goods? Without worldly goods, they just would not be. I tell you that by whatever name you may call God, or by whatever deity you may choose to follow, by whatever means you may choose to exercise your faith, each and every one of you is important to God as the most devoted of all of the devotees. Your place in this creation is as important and as meaningful as any. Isha Upanishad tells us, Isha shines like a lustrous star in the galaxy of Upanishads. Tells us God is in everything and everything is in God. Tells us true nature is when one reaches and possesses both knowledge and not knowledge. In 1971, I laid down one evening and I was drawn into a vision within the white light. The white light was the light of God. The white light was everywhere, as if it were a sea, pure and clear. There were no shadows, as the white light was not directional, as is the light of the sun or the light of a lamp or the light of a candle. The white light did not come from a source. The white light existed everywhere and in everything. Isha shines like a lustrous star. Within that light, an object would fade in and an object would fade out over and over again. A flower would fade in with all its color and the flower would fade out. A dog would fade in alive, though not barking, and the dog would fade out. A rock without distinction would fade in and the rock would fade out. Everything was in the light. Everything was of the light. God is in everything, and everything is in God. I was in the vision for a little over 8 hours. When I arose the next morning and left my little apartment unit, I noticed as if I walked that if I had been put on top of Mount Everest at that moment, you would have had to lower me to get me there. I knew I could not take but a small portion of my vision back with me. I had been one with the ocean, but upon my return, I was but a drop of water. One of the things I was able to bring back with me was the knowledge of the oneness of our earthly dichotomies. For us, light and dark are opposites. Yet in heaven, when light and darkness are merged, there is only light. An example of this principle can actually be experienced by us today. If we were to imagine shutting off all of the lights in this room with all of the doors closed and sealed off all the cracks, it would be pitch black. It would be totally dark. And then if we were to turn the lights back on, it would be light. So what happens when you put darkness and light together? You only get light. In heaven, this is true of all the dichotomies. Joy and pain, love and hate, peace and unrest, understanding and mistrust, good and evil are but some of the examples. In heaven, the differences of the earthly dichotomies are merged into oneness. As Isha tells us, in heaven there is only true knowledge, as both knowledge and not knowledge merge into one. Digressing for a second, an example I believe of knowledge and not knowledge is, this is all reality. But at the same time, if you stop and think about it, not even for a nanosecond, everything is the same. Every atom is moving at the speed of light. Everything is changing immediately. There is nothing that stays the same, even for a nanosecond. So, what is the reality if it's all changing? So, this reality is knowledge, and this reality is not knowledge. What does this all lead us to? Yes, the teaching of the elders are important to all of us. Yes, the path of the devotee helps guide us through life. At the same time, each of you are of God, and each of you are in God. God would not have it any other way. If you are a dancer, be a great achiever and lead a good life. If you're a developer, be a great achiever and lead a good life. If you're a doctor, be a great achiever and lead a good life. Whatever you may be, whatever you may choose, be a grand achiever and lead a good life. The devotee seeks to separate himself from everything which is worldly in order that he or she might reach oneness with God. You as grand achievers must involve yourselves in all that is worldly if you are to be grand achievers. However, in pursuit of being a grand achiever, you need to pursue that which is good and do that which you know in your own hearts to be right. For it is what you give to life, not what you get out of life, that really counts. Grand achievers, if you are sincere and committed to do that which is good, you too can possess both knowledge and not knowledge and reach the oneness with God. It is okay to be successful. Don't apologize for being successful. It is what you do with your success and how you deal with your success that makes your difference. Maintain your humility. Bury your ego. Remember, the poorest of men, the weak and the disabled, are no less worthy. In fact, it would be better for you to err on the side of viewing the poor, the weak, and the disabled as being more worthy. If you honestly pursue leading a good life, never question your path. If you fail or seem to fall, lead a good life and don't question your path. God never intended that every person would be a devotee of the Upanishads. God always intended that you were to be you. In heaven, the dichotomies of the devotee and the dancer, or the devotee and the developer, or the devotee and the doctor, those dichotomies do not exist. The devotee and the dancer are one and the same with God. The devotee and the dancer exist within the light of the same God. None has greater importance, none has lesser importance. Your choice is to be a grand achiever. Do so and lead a good life. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Thomas, actually, for that beautiful and inspiring talk with a lot of devotion and devotional experience, where you have sifted it all from the Indian philosophy. First time when I met Mr. Thomas actually in his office, really I was so much pleasantly shocked to see a great scholar in Indian philosophy, where we had a nice discussion about him. It's true on today, it is very thrilling to me to meet him once in a while and see the enthusiasm of his about the Indian concepts, culture, religion, spirituality, everything. I salute you, sir. Thank you very much for that brilliant talk. It is extraordinary. We love it, and I wish. See, he is there with us for the first conference in 2015 in Renaissance Hotel, Washington, D.C. Then he was with us in Baltimore during the second conference in Hilton. And today, for the third conference, he is here. And I wish, even after 3,000 years, when Grand Achievers are honored, I pray God he is with us and bless this occasion. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. And now, I have to honor a special guest who has come here all the way from Atlanta. His name is Mr. Sundar Venkatesan. Mr. Venkatesan, please come here. And he is a good friend of ours. And he hails from Tamil Nadu, but he is settled in Atlanta. And I had the pleasure of meeting Dr. Sundar like 2-3 years back. And ever since our friendship blossomed. And he connects me with very important people. He is very popular with the Indian political life system, politicians, and the highest order of hierarchy, political hierarchy in India, and also here in United States. He's a great statesman, and he's a good friend, a good humanitarian, and I'm really honored to welcome and also honor him with our Grand Achievers, and thank you so much, sir. Thanks for coming in. Very important person in the sense, in my introductory talk, I said that we do bring peace to home, then societies, communities, countries, continents. And now we have a very colossal personality who is beyond all these limits. He is a person with beyond barriers and helping people with their health, medicine in the field of cancer research, and he just arrived here, and that is our great grand achiever, Dr. Krishnan Sudandran from Tamil Nadu. Of course, he is here more than 42 years, serving all over the world. And for his fame, he has donated $1.5 million to the University of Maryland just for cancer research. He is bringing peace to the people all around the world, and he owns more than 60-70 corporations all over the world. His dream was to find treatment to cancer, and also he is so much involved in social life. He came to Washington, D.C., started his business in Virginia. I just read about him. Maybe factually there may be one or two points here and there. Maybe I could flip-flop. My apologies to you if I'm not very exact. He has more than 70 corporations all around the world, and he has bought a $7 million property which was sitting idle like a ghost town, excuse my terminology, and he has brought life to a big city in Canada. And I'm really humbled. Meanwhile, I'm so much honored, sir, along with all this Peace Council family here, to welcome you and honor you here, sir. And we hope God bless you in all your endeavors. And I'm sure that you are going to be a great blessing for the Peace Council. And we want you every year here, because our conferences, annual conferences will happen here every year in the month of May. And I'm very happy to introduce him. And also, it is the first time he is here, and such a simple, very, very, very kind-hearted person. Let me invite him to the stage. Please, sir, please come to the stage. We are all honored. We are all very, very, very much honored with your presence.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you. And one second. This is a beyond. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Sorry for being late, and I was in Calgary, Alberta, Canada yesterday, and I took an early morning flight yesterday morning, came through Minneapolis and came home, and after about 10 days of travel, and I was about to begin this evening for a travel for 2 weeks to Europe and Boston, and I just didn't have the energy to pack up, and so I delayed my trip for leaving tomorrow. And you know, something about someone once did a research of travelers in Canada and the United States. They said, what would you like to have more, sleep or sex? The Canadian travelers chose sex, the American travelers chose sleep. So I'm an American, so I chose sleep. So, you know, when you're thirsty, you need water. When you're tired, you need sleep. So I do wanted to make one correction. This is about 10 years ago. The University of Maryland College of Medicine, they started a Fund for Medicine Gala. I'm not sure how many of you know the University of Maryland College of Medicine is the very first public medical school in the United States of America. And they were celebrating 200th anniversary. And they told one of my staff, that they want me to buy 10 tickets, $500 each, $5,000 for the gala. So my staffer came and told me that, and I said, what, $5,000? I'm a one person, I just would buy one ticket. So the dean had set up a meeting while I was coming from New York to meet in Baltimore for dinner. So I met with one of my former colleagues, and who was a vice chairman of the Department of Radiation Oncology under the dean. So as we sit down and we're having a dinner, and I was complaining about, no, I don't want to pay $5,000, I'll pay $500. And this vice chairman said, no, we're not asking you for $5,000 or $500, we're asking $250,000. What? I said, this is going to be my most expensive dinner. And so what they told me was that if I come to the dance floor first with the $250,000, the dean of College of Medicine will match it, and the clinicians will match it, and they needed about to raise $1.5 million and to set up an endowment under one of the professors I have a lot of respect for. So after a week, I know that I'm going to meet them at a conference, so I had to come up with a plan. So I said, I can't give you all $250,000 in one lump sum, and I'll do it in 5 installments, $50,000 a year. And I also told him, I said, I cannot do it for my company because then I have to report that as accounts payable. My accountants are not going to be very happy about it. I said, I'll do the commitment from my foundation, and the money of the foundation comes from me anyhow. So the idea was that once I gave the $250,000 and they were able to raise more than $2 million and establish the endowment. So I didn't give hundreds of millions, but $250,000. But I worked with them on research. But the other unique thing about the University of Maryland College of Medicine is that they were planning to raise about $300 million as part of their third century beginning. And they were planning to raise the money over 5 years. But they raised the $300 million within a couple of months. And so they kind of made it up to, I don't know, $1 billion or something. But anyhow, the University of Maryland has many, many campuses, and some of you live in Maryland, and I think that, I'm glad to be part of that. The most important thing I wanted to mention to you is that I'm of the belief that education is the most effective way to eliminate poverty, promote global understanding and peace. So this is something that I know a lot of us, including myself, have been where we are, what we are, have a lot to do with the education we got. In the 21st century, education doesn't mean high school. We need to provide every individual higher education. One of my goals, I have an independent political party in America called Proud American Party, and I'll be launching a movie and introducing the party. The goal is that universal healthcare access and universal higher education. I've been in healthcare for 45 years now, and I've been in Canada and US almost half a century. The United States is such a critical part of the global peace, and the United States is the pillar. And unfortunately, the United States foreign policy or the domestic policy have been confusing, convoluted, and very much what I call really doesn't help anybody. The Republicans and Democrats accusing each other. Republicans say Democrats are bad. The Democrats are saying Republicans are bad. I say, for once, they both tell the truth. They both are bad. They are the problem. You know, President Ronald Reagan said about nearly 35 years ago that our government is the problem, not the solution. But what he forgot to mention is that the Republicans and Democrats are the problem because they are the one governing. So, if you look at, for more than a half a century, in the late 1940s, when Truman was campaigning, and he labeled the Congress Do Nothing Republican Congress. So I think that we've seen how the Republican Congress treated President Barack Obama, and they would not work with him. The moment he was elected and he was inaugurated, the Republican leadership gathered up for dinner, made a promise to themselves. They will make sure that they will not work with him, they will not make him succeed, and he will be a failed president. So you don't need to go very far to look at racism and discrimination. I said it exists in America and it exists in every country. The global problems, I can summarize them with 6 of them that is common in every country. Number 1, corruption. If anyone says there's no corruption in the country, I think you found the biggest liar. So every country is corrupt. Okay? In America, we don't call that a corruption, we don't call it a bribe. We call it campaign contribution. So I have an equation that defines politics 101. What is politics 101? It's defined by an equation called TOR, Theory of Relative Equilibrium. What it says is that C squared, CC is equal to F squared, FF, is equal to PIGS, PIGS, plus TI, plus CC. The CC or the C squared is the campaign contribution. That's equivalent to FF or F squared, which is friendly favors. That's equivalent to PIGS, price increase, goods and services we pay, plus TI, tax increases we pay. And plus, and it equals to CC. It's called chronic capitalism. So every time when we talk about a chronic capitalism, the Republicans trying to say, oh, we're talking about socialism. No, Mr. Republican, it's chronic capitalism, and we're not talking about a socialism. So if we are going to change, and the other part of the other 5 items are hypocrisy. I can tell you that a lot of you watching politics in Washington, D.C. know how hypocritical this whole town is, and I think we need to donate that to the Russians, you know. So I don't know whether you know or not that the Washington, D.C. has, the White House is being changed. Their name is being changed now. So on the front of the White House, they're putting a new sign. It says Trump Billionaires Club. So on the back of it, it says Vladimir Putin's Kremlin, Washington, D.C. On the West Wing, the Kushners have a real estate enterprise offering a Visa green card to anybody who gives them a $500,000. So anyhow, so hypocrisy, lack of integrity, and bureaucracy, discrimination of various kinds, and dictatorial governing under the name of democracy are dictatorship. Freedom leads to free press. Free press and freedom of speech lead to free enterprise. Free enterprise leads to competition and offers the best value for the consumer. I can tell you that I've traveled at least 25 countries, and I was in Russia for a few days, first time early April. Wherever there is dictatorship or monopoly government, the price of goods and services are so high, okay? And when I was in Russia, that I found out that they're paying for cancer treatment technology, that what I would consider a normal price, a retail price would be about $200,000, they're paying $1.5 million for it. So corruption is everywhere. And what I plan to do with that, take my life experiences into segments of movie, docudramas, and show the real world that's out there. And more importantly, what I want to tell you, I have a dream, and I have a purpose, and I call that a purposeful dream. And the dream and the purposeful dream is the following. 1, establish a purified drinking water and affordable sewer system in every part of the world by the end of the next decade. The second part is that set up a hub and spoke model of healthcare delivery system, express and mobile clinic linked to medical center and linked to super specialty medical centers around the world under the Best Cure Foundation, Best Cure Health System, and create a global standard of care. When the Republicans talk about Obamacare and they talk about healthcare, they say, oh, we didn't know this is so complicated. But they've been saying for 8 years, we're going to replace Obamacare on day one. So politicians don't solve any problem. They argue about problems. So I'm an entrepreneur. When I look at healthcare is a $10 trillion economy and a business. Huge opportunity. But more importantly, what we need is universal healthcare access. So to talk about a universal healthcare, folks, it's not complicated, it's 2 words. It's bright and simple, universal healthcare access. Universal higher education. So we're going and spending, what, $5 trillion in Iraq and Afghanistan, Libya, Syria, and we continue to spend money. The Republicans find money every time when they need to spend money somewhere else. When they call America first, oh, they mean America last. Because if you want to fix the potholes in Washington, D.C., they have no money. But if you want to build a school and the bridges and roads in Iraq, Afghanistan, they got plenty of money. So what we're saying is that we need universal health care and universal higher education. It's not complicated, it's very simple, and we can do it. So 7 years ago, I wrote a letter to President Obama. I said, we spent $2.5 trillion for healthcare in the United States in 2009. We could have saved 30% of it, $750 billion. I sent that to every congressman, every senator, President Obama, Michelle Obama. I got no one ever responded. So I gave it to one of the senior staff of President Obama in a conference. He just ridiculed, oh, we can save this kind of money. 3 years later, the Institute of Medicine in Washington, D.C. spent $50 million and 3 years, researched it. On September 12th, they published a report saying we spent $2.5 trillion in 2009 and we could have saved $750 billion off of that, saying exactly to the dollar number I gave and recommending the same thing I recommended. So the point is that we can solve our problem. We are Americans. Sometimes people say that, gee, you got a big dreams. I said, what do you expect from an American? So that's what us are very different from the rest of the world. So the other part of that is that women. You know, we all came from women. Every man and a woman, including the greatest men and women, were given birth to, nursed, nourished, and raised by women. Women in our society, no matter what part of the world, are taking larger share of the raising family, juggling a career, and also taking care of the adult child, which is the husband. So, my fellow citizen friends, we need to make sure that women are treated, and I set up an organization called Triple E, 3E, EEE. What does that mean? Education, empowerment, and equality to promote women. And how do we promote women? You know, everybody talks about it. Friends, the best way to do that is that we need to make sure half of the elected officials in America by the end of next decade are women. So we have to be in the political arena. We need to be in the seat of power if we want to make a change. Otherwise, we're going to continue to have the entire world be a male-dominated society. So the goal of my party and my foundation is that to make sure we have at least 50% of the elected officials by the end of next decade are women. And again, what I wanted to thank you and for the opportunity here, but we can work together, we can make changes, and I think women are the very, very important part of our society, and we need to treat women respectfully and graciously and appreciate the contributions they make in raising all of us. So, and my mother passed away, my dad passed away. So when my father died of cancer 50 years ago, it was my journey that started to address what can we do about cancer. So one of the foundation's goals is that to reduce the death and suffering from cancer, cardiac, diabetes, and all the major diseases by 50% by the end of next decade. We can do that today, but unfortunately, our healthcare delivery system, honestly, it's a disease care system, is corrupt and wasteful. So they make money by everybody getting sicker and sicker and complication. So I always tell people, and the insurance companies agree with me, good healthcare costs significantly less than a bad one. If you're spending too much money, it's a signal that we have a bad healthcare system. So we can do that, and that's one of the foundation goals, reduce the death and suffering from cancer, cardiac, diabetes, and all the major by 50% by the end of the next decade. The President of the United States cannot promise you, but I can tell you, I promise you we're going to get that done. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for that inspirational and futuristic, totally fully visioned talk, sir. Thank you very much. We are all very much honored by your talk, and it has given us a lot of inspiration, and it's a thought-provoking speech that we'll carry with us. Thank you very much. And now I call Mr. Thangamani to facilitate, felicitate Dr. Swadhandran with few words, please.
Good afternoon. Dr. Krishnan Swadhandran talked a lot about it. Anyway, I just wanted to give him the history, where he came from and how he grew into this level. Okay, Krishnan Swadhandran is the founder and president of Team Best Company and Best Cure Foundation, which is a non-profit organization, and he has Best Global Talent Agency as well as Kisort Resorts and Kisort Energy. Krishnan Swadhandran traveled to Canada from India in September 1969 after graduating with bachelor degree in mechanical engineering. His background is basically mechanical engineering from University of Madras, which is in India. He pursued master degree in mechanical engineering from Canada Carleton University. Then he arrived from India with just 400 Canadian dollars. He just started his career from India, just 400 Canadian dollars, and subsequently received National Research Council of Canada Research Assistantship, which helped him to meet his financial needs. All his career and education, he got a merit scholarship as well as a research assistantship. He graduated with a master degree in mechanical in 1971 from Carleton University, which is in Canada. Then he moved into United States in 1972 and worked as an engineer physicist at Howard University Hospital in Washington, D.C. until 1978. He also founded and invested hundreds of millions in US dollars globally as well as locally during past 40 years. In medical product manufacturing as well as healthcare industry, and he invested in real estate, entertainment and energy company. Mr. Kumar has spent more than 40 years in cancer research, treatment and cure. He also established and acquired a number of medical companies globally in order to collect many of the technologies needed to establish productive healthcare delivery system that he talked about it today. So everybody he had a future vision regarding the healthcare industry. His family of medical companies is known collectively as Team Best. That is his collective company's name, Team Best. He founded and is currently supporting few non-profit charitable organizations to promote quality education as well as healthcare and making affordable for everyone not only United States, he's thinking about universal global. He is pursuing goal of providing purified drinking water and affordable sewer systems in every part of the world. He has contributed subsequently to setting up endowed chair and endowments for scholarships and also provided significant funding to support medical research and treatment by partnering with academic centers like he did in Maryland and national labs and hospital globally. And thank you, Mr. Krishnan, for doing all the wonderful jobs for not just this community, for throughout the world. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Tangamani, for giving that very, very accurate information, and we are very thankful to you. And now, in the midst of us, there is a new star just is going to appear here, and is none other than Sharis Jackson Jordan. Please, ma'am, please come to the stage. We welcome you. And she's the Real Wives of Potomac show, and she's a very popular TV star, well, nationally acclaimed. Thank you, dear. Thanks for coming here and honoring us all. Please come, please.
Hi everyone. Thank you for having me. I was a little confused as to my role here today, but I was understanding that I was nominated due to philanthropy. And I just wanted to share with you that whatever you're doing, whatever vocation it is, take time to give back. And part of my life has always been doing community service and just uplifting people. I heard a lot about the organization. You do phenomenal work. And my girlfriend, Pramila Raj, told me all the great things that you all have done. And I was really inspired by the words I've heard from the previous speakers today. Women, we need more women in politics. I agree with you. And I would like to run for office because right now anybody can run for president of the United States. Just joking. I'm a reality star, that's why I said that. But, more importantly, just giving back, take time to give back, especially our young people. The millennials now, their world's a little different. I see one over there. But, just give back and teach them. And, it would be great, like, if people like the young men that spoke prior to me, the young people could hear those messages because they're important messages. But more importantly, the community needs us to build, to grow, and to be the best that we can be. And I take pride, and all of my life have taken pride into doing for other people. So you're not as good as you are unless you're building someone else. So that's what I want to leave you with today. Thank you for having me, and it's a pleasure and an honor to be here.
That's pretty.
Yes.
I love the color.
Now I invite Honorable Mayor Jody Paul to come and give the felicitation address.
Good afternoon. And here's a woman in politics. Before I start, I just wanted to comment on something that you said about politicians and corruption and campaign money. I'm here to tell you, I had a gentleman, a developer, who gave me a lot of campaign money, and I enjoyed saying no to him when he brought a project in that I did not like. And somebody once said, "Why do you keep giving her money when she votes against you?" He said, "You know what? I like her. She's honest. She lets me know where I stand. She tells me what she doesn't like, and if I don't fix it, she votes against me. It's that simple." So you got one here. That aside, I just want to thank the council for inviting me here and honoring me and letting you all know what important work is being done here. not only in this room, but throughout the country. I wanted to start out with something very simple that Mother Teresa said. Peace begins with a smile. So I'm going to see a big smile on everybody's face, and we know peace begins right here. And others have said this too about education. You know, I'm a teacher. I taught for 40 years when I retired as a high school teacher. And the importance of education, that's the basis of everything. And a quote from Gandhi, if we want to reach real peace in this world, we should start educating our children. And this is something I've devoted my life to. And my fellow council member, Carol Hatton's also a teacher, and she'll be speaking later as well. But education is so important. We spend so much time as teachers with the next generation and the next generation and the next generation. And I'm here to tell you that I have students that graduated in the 60s that are still coming back to me to say thank you, and to who I have kept contact with and who I have helped through many struggles over the years. And I remember a story. I used to teach AP Government, American History, honors classes. And one year, a group of students came into my classroom, and I didn't recognize many of them. And one of the students said to me, in front of the whole class, she said, "You're not going to like us. We're not like the rest of your classes. They tell us we're stupid." I just couldn't take it. I said, that word does not exist in our vocabulary. I never ever want to hear you say that again. You are achievers, and you're going to achieve, and you're going to aspire to greatness, and you're going to reach that. And do you know that was the best class I've ever had? They wanted so hard to prove to me that my belief in them was real, that they worked as hard as they could. I had more A's in that class than in some of my honors classes. And to this day, some of those students still keep in contact with me. And you know what? One of them is a doctor. We don't realize sometimes as adults when we're dealing with children, whatever you say to someone, the slightest thing that you say to them, they're going to keep that with them the rest of their life. I can remember another story when I was teaching in a middle school, and I was telling one of my colleagues, oh, I have my students doing a term paper. And they said, they can't do a term paper. I said, shh, don't tell them, they don't know that. Whatever you ask them to do, if you have faith in them, they are going to do that. And they're going to achieve. So the importance of education and its connection to achievement and its connection to peace go hand in hand. You can't separate them. So, you know, I'm here to tell you that peace is achievable, but we can't come in and change the world. We can't change anything unless it's in our hearts. And so that's what we have to do. One by one, we have to win the hearts of the people to bring true peace. And again, one of the most famous of Gandhi's quotes is, you must be the change you wish to see in the world. And I hope I'm not taking away from anybody else. I just took Shaijan's whole speech. And then I'm going to finish with another Gandhi quote, and that is, the day the power of love overrules the love of power, the world will know peace. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Honorable Jody Paul. We are very, very much delighted, and we know what a great socially conscious person you are, and you have a great international perspective, and your travel and your own attire shows that. Thank you very much. And now I am inviting Amma. It's our Honorable Eileen Ferguson to address on peace. She has come all the way from California. Come on, Ma.
First of all, I have to say what a privilege it is to be here. I am absolutely blown away by the fact that so many of you people are dedicated to promoting peace in the world. And I have to thank Dr. Selvin Kumar, who is a great inspiration to all of us. Knowing people in your lives that have such high ideals and such great aspirations is something that can change all of us. And I have to say that it's a joy to see young people here too, because you're the future of the world. and you're really, really important to all of us. Everybody here has a special contribution to make, and some of us have already made great contributions. We appreciate them too. But here's the future over here with the youth tomorrow. So we thank you for coming. I should say namaste and vanakkam. I have to tell you that education is an amazing thing. I've had the joy of teaching in the United States, in California, on the Navajo reservation among Navajo people, and in India, in Woodstock School, which is internationally known. It's an accredited school that is over 160 some years old now. First school in Southeast Asia to be accredited in the US. I've also taught at the community college level here in the States, and taught everything from second grade through second year college. And each one has its challenges, and each has its special joys. But the young people are the future, and so we're counting on all of you to do what you can to build peace in the world. It's really an important contribution. I'm grateful to every person that is here because, and especially to Dr. Kumar and all of the other wonderful people that are here, because each one of you brings special talents, special gifts that you share. Our dancer, special things that you share with other people, and that is a great blessing. And all of the educational information here from our distinguished speakers makes us really grateful. I'm happy to hear, I think it's New York now that is offering the degrees without cost, and that is an extremely important thing. I hope that someday soon we will have free education through the college and university level. When we were in Sri Lanka last December, I was very impressed to find out that in Sri Lanka, education is free through college. And that seems to be the United States needs to catch up a little here, because nowadays it's really a burden for young people like you who have great aspirations and hopes, and the pockets are not there with the money that we need to fund education. So that's something that we really need to work on here. But the most important thing is the people. If every person that is here affects other lives through your work, that's an amazing gift that you have given to other people. And it's something that you should all be very, very proud of, because that's something only you can give. Only you. And each one of you has special gifts to share with other people. And that's something that can change the whole future of the world. And you know, having lived in the United States on the Navajo reservation, in India, and also I taught also in Cameroon, in West Africa for a year. And people everywhere are wonderful. And I just don't understand why it is that the world can't get along with each other, because every person has a special gift to share with other people. And we need to be aware of those possibilities and those gifts that they have, and we need to take them in and make them a part of our lives, because each culture, like the dancing that we saw today, that's so special. And when you have these special gifts, it's wonderful to share them with people. And I just appreciate hearing some of the speakers that are here today. It gives us great hope for the future. I think that's perhaps the thing that is most important for all of us, is to have belief in one another, individually and internationally, and between our political parties too. It's sometimes we find it very hard to, for people who are of different political persuasions. And it's the working together that makes the difference to promote peace in the world. And after all, that's what we're all after, is a peaceful home and environment where everyone can share their ideas and build a better future for everyone. And I certainly thank you all for the opportunity to be here, and thank Dr. Kumar especially. Thank you.
She's not a talker, she's also a person in action, because whenever, as much as I know, whenever she's visiting Chennai, she won't go running here and there for doing things or for a shopping mall. All that she's going is, she will seclude herself, and she won't be known by others, and she will keep herself aloof and teach the helpless orphan children who are in the orphanages of Madras. A very silent worker who is doing silently tremendous things, and she is still doing it in the Asian countries. And I salute you, Amma. Thank you very much for that beautiful, beautiful speech. It came from your heart. I love it. And now let me invite for the felicitation address, Honorable Miss Carol Hatton.
This is my second Grand Achievers Conference. I missed it last year, but I was one of the first. And I was blown away the first time I was here, and I'm blown away again. I'm going to try and make my speech very short. I just want to say, the mayor said, ditto for me. She's amazing, I have to tell you. Whenever I think about what I have to do as a council member on her council, you know the expression, no disrespect meant, but what would Jesus do? They have bracelets. I look at it and I say, what would Judy do? And then I'm pretty good. So when I was about 8th grade, they give you an abilities test. What would you like to do? What you'll be good at? And I came up a nun or a teacher. And they were right on, spot on for being a teacher. I was probably not going to be a nun, but my teaching life was amazing. I taught not disabled children, but children with disabilities. That was my life, and I spent 39 years doing it. And I really don't have to say an awful lot, except the speakers today have been really wonderful. I couldn't agree with our speaker right before Judy, Dr. Suthan Thiran. I don't know if I said that correctly. Hopefully it's close enough. Your speech was spot on. It was excellent. Thank you so much, and thank you for what you do. I only have two things. I wasn't sure that I didn't know I was going to be speaking, so we were kind of tossing things around last night, and who's going to use Gandhi, and who's going to take what Gandhi's quotes and lessons. So that went around for a bit, and I decided I wasn't going to go with Gandhi, although he's wonderful. We have a beautiful statue in our town, gorgeous, and a great group of people. I was going to go with Mother Teresa, and she has a saying that I have on my fridge that I have framed in my home. And you'll probably recognize it when I read it, and I think it's really good. People are often unreasonable, irrational, and self-centered. Forgive them anyway. If you are kind, people may accuse you of selfish, ulterior motives. Be kind anyway. If you are successful, you will win some unfaithful friends and some genuine enemies. Succeed anyway. If you are honest and sincere, people may deceive you. Be honest and sincere anyway. What you spend years creating, others could destroy overnight. Create anyway. If you find serenity and happiness, some may be jealous. Be happy anyway. The good you do today will often be forgotten. Do the good anyway. Give the best you have, and it will never be enough. Give your best anyway. In the final analysis, it's between you and God. It was never between you and them anyway. And I'm going to close with it, something I picked up on the internet last night, and it said, we need to care less about whether our children are academically gifted. We need to care more about whether they sit with the lonely kid in the cafeteria. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Carol Hatton. Thank you very much for taking pains to come all the way from Florida and being a part of this great conference and the great message. That was a very good message shared by you. Thank you very much. And now let me invite Dr. Sajan Kurian to felicitate the achievers.
Thank you, Dr. Kumar. Well, with all these awesome speakers, I don't know what to say now. They stole some of the stuff. But again, it's the message we still got to keep repeating. Good afternoon. I hope everybody is awake because we had an awesome breakfast. Before even getting over that, we had an awesome lunch. And before getting that, we have another dinner too. So got to walk and get all those calories burnt out. Anyway, getting back to the point, I don't want to steal anyone's time here. Honorable guests, grand achievers, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to thank the International Peace Council, USA, President Dr. Selvin Kumar, for this opportunity of honoring achievers from all over the world, and his wonderful staff and family to all of us. Shanti, awesome job. Every year it gets better, and I was there for the first, along with Councilwoman Carol Hatton. Of course, Mayor Judy Paul couldn't make it, but she was there with us in prayers. I'm coming back to you on that one. I'm going to pick on that. Anyway, getting back to what I wanted to say, I believe that interfaith dialogue is a profoundly important process for harmony and peace, vital to building a critical mass of voices that rejects violence and respects human dignity. As per Abraham Lincoln, peace is a thing which a person must be willing to fight for. A quote from Mahatma Gandhi I reflect on today. The future depends on what we do in the present. So my delegates, as community leaders who help define our crucial values, such as the global pursuit of peace, security, and happiness of all humankind, I have a special friend in this audience that has always been an example of promoting peace and nonviolence by installing a Mahatma Gandhi statue, the first instant that when she was the mayor of Davie, the town of Davie, the only statue that holds a piece of land in the United States, which was built by an American, donated by an American, and been approved by a Council of Americans, requested by the South Asian community. Mayor Judy Paul and the council member, we thank you again and again, because we cannot forget you promoting us as South Asians, an icon, Mahatma Gandhi, that promotes peace. That's the biggest gift you can give us. And I thank you once again for that. Not only that, she is my mentor and my mother in the United States, who has also visited with me to India, along with Council Member Carol Hatton. That means a lot to me. Not many people want to visit India because of fear of what's being projected by the media of the slums and everything. So you are not the Jewish princess anymore. So my message today is to encourage you as delegates to reach out to your communities at the grassroots level to advocate the importance of appreciating diversity, resolving conflicts without violence, and minimizing disconnection. Interfaith dialogue, I believe, is a fundamentally important way of building human dignity, security, and peace. I agree with Dr. Krishnan. I too started with $50 in my pocket 25 years ago, just to let you know. We start small. I don't know, many of you do not know. I used to be a janitor at a Burger King restaurant years ago in Piscataway, New Jersey. So, of course, my people know that. I did run for office, of course I wasn't a woman, so I ran for the state. But somebody had to make a difference because we need our representation, our minority representation. Unfortunately, this government does not recognize us, so we got to fight for our right, regardless of our race, religion, caste, or creed. Again, coming back to, I have a lot to say, but I don't want to sound like a politician here. But again, on the final note, like Gandhi said, be the change you want to see in the world. That the one that you stole away from me, but I keep repeating that. It's on my Facebook page. It's always there because that was the only reason why I promoted Mahatma Gandhi, because he was the right person for the right job at that time. And lo and behold, this was in 2012. So we started that work a long time ago. Mother Teresa has visited my house, along with my mom and my dad. So just wanted to, so I have seen her before. She was not anymore with us. Recently, I had organized interfaith peace march in reference to the recent violence that happened to our South Asian community. That latest one on April 18th, where there was an injury caused to one of our brothers who was a business owner, and he was mistaken to be a Muslim or an Arab. So regardless of what the act itself was wrong, and we had a peace march, we had over 200 people, close to 200 people, promoting peace, unity, and tolerance. That is one thing I did as one person to reach out to different. So stuff like that. This is just an example. I'm not trying to promote myself, but this is what, like Mrs. Ferguson said, we can touch one person in our own communities when we go back home. That creates a big impact, especially to the children who are listening today. You are our future, and the recent violences must stop. And I'm just going to leave it at that. God bless us all. God bless us all in the United States of America. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sergeant Kurian. That's a beautiful speech, and he's very intimate to me because, and I'm very closely connected to him as a brother because I have seen him getting his degrees. Then I was maybe one of the few came from United States and attended his marriage, and now he has a beautiful son called Sean. And when we talked about him in the morning, we said he's a rising star. He is. And thank you so much for that very thought-provoking and yes, Gandhian inspirational talk. Thank you very much. And now let me call Mr. Dr. Bruce Ferguson. Please come, sir. Thank you. He's a great motivational speaker. We travel a lot in India together. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, thanks. Yes, I'm at a loss for words because, frankly, the motivation has already been given. What an amazing group of people we have here. Every time when I come, I've written many speeches that never got delivered because of exactly this reason. I came with this agenda, I was going to cover these things, and then you go to the conference and you're blown away by what you hear. You're moved. Your mindset changes from one set of circumstances and realizes that there's possibly a better solution. That's what happens when you surround yourself with the right people, and I feel like that's what we're doing here, is really surrounding ourselves with the right people, which will continue. That's an important piece of this particular conference and any other similar type of meeting that you go to. Let's make sure that we all exchange emails, stay in touch, share what we're doing, because this mutual support. Facebook, I've heard of that. Yeah, good. So I have my phone right here, hang on. Oh. Anyway, no, but it's really important to share what you do, and that exactly. Social media, huge impact in the world, and it's the way to reach a lot of people. I think that you, on the launch of your party, please include all of us, because you'll have your first set of supporters. Definitely, I'm very excited about hearing about that. I think that type, I work in the banking industry for my normal job. Help service the community banks of the United States, and it's highly technical, and there's a term used for new things that come along, and you're probably all familiar with it. That term is disruptive technology. It used to be that when you were disruptive, you would get sent to the principal, right? But the point is that there comes a point where we cannot continue to just simply accept the way things are. I had such an opportunity when I was, I used to travel around South Asia quite a bit because I grew up there. So for me, it was going home, get to eat with my hands and get to, walk around and feel at home. And I was traveling around doing some nonprofit NGO, which is non-governmental organization, work over there on human rights. And human rights, you bring that word up and people go, because everybody hears about all these human rights violations and human rights abuses. And I found a group that was actually talking about human rights education. And interestingly enough, even the many people who are in the human rights arena, like Amnesty International and groups like that, go up to any of them and ask them if they know what their human rights are. Oh, well, I know what everybody should have human rights. Yes, but do you know the definition of human rights? And human rights is a very broad topic, but there's one group that in 1948, under the United Nations, which whether we agree with that politically or not, or whatever their agenda is, they came up with a group of 30 human rights. And that's contained in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And fundamentally, knowing those 30 human rights actually changes the way that people interact, because it's human rights. And so if we all understand that we have those, and by having those, we also have the responsibility to honor other people's human rights, then things begin to make a little more sense. But I was traveling around India, as I said, and I was talking, I think it was going from Calcutta to Mumbai. I think I was going back to Delhi after that. And I get a call from the people in the United States who coordinated with me as to, the agenda for what I was doing in India. And they said, some guy called us from Madurai. I don't know where that is, but it's somewhere in South India. And he wants somebody to come and talk about human rights at a group gathering that he's holding. I said, well, I'm here. It's a shorter flight from Mumbai to Tamil Nadu than it is from the United States. And so I said, okay, I'll do it. Well, I went down expecting, a Rotary Club, maybe 15, 20 people, something like that I was going to talk about human rights. And so I first of all, I get off the plane in Madurai, and I'm looking for this person that I'm supposed to be meeting. And there's some kind of big commotion going on. There's probably 100 people out there. And I'm thinking, I must have come at a bad time. Something else very big is going on. Well, enter Dr. Kumar, who had brought his whole delegation to the airport to greet me. And then I found out that it wasn't to a Rotary Club that I was going to be talking. It was actually to an event that he was putting together in conjunction with a couple of other groups. And so we drove through the night about, 8 hours, something like that, from Madurai up to Dindigul. And we ended up speaking to over 40,000 people in a stadium. And so at that point I realized, okay, I've met somebody that is going to change my life, And so from that point, we've had many, many other fascinating adventures traveling across from Chennai down to the tip of India and everywhere else in between. And we've done events here in the United States. And what I've noticed about Dr. Kumar is his ability deals with inspiration through recognition and validation. He recognizes people who are doing good, and it doesn't matter that they have a degree, they don't have a degree, they could be in business, they could be a politician, they could be an educator, but out of all of this mass of humanity, he picks people that he recognizes are change makers, and then brings them up on stage, wraps them with a scarf, gives them some kind of acknowledgement, and they go away bigger. They go away with challenging themselves to do more. And I think that's ultimately what is so great about what we've got here, is each one of us is going to go away challenged and challenging ourselves to do bigger things than the ideas that we had when we came here, because we recognize that there are other people who have the same agenda. So I like to ramble, so I'm gonna cut off here. But Dr. Kumar, could you come up? And I'm gonna back at you. Come on, please. Please. So for the King Changemaker, and it's good you have King University, make more kings. I'm going to give this back to you. I'm giving it back to you. I have another one. That's fine. No, and I have a plaque here. I have my own nonprofit that actually was partly inspired by my work with Dr. Kumar. And it's just FHFI, which is my nonprofit, a USA-based nonprofit focused on the role of education in achieving human rights for all and women's empowerment, hereby awards its Lifetime Achievement Award for outstanding vision and action in creating real and long-term solutions, developing resources for life improvement for all, and for his tireless work through the International Tamil University and the International Peace Council, and for his recognition through these programs and the annual Grand Achievers Conference. To Dr. Selvan Kumar. Thank you very much. And because I was talking about the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, I can't give it away, it's fine. I broke tradition here, sorry.
Not that ready.
Okay.
Oh, thank you, my friend. Thank you. Yes, yes. Okay, thank you. So I wanted to see if I still have it up here. Yes, I do. This is actually from the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and it's something that we've all been alluding to, talking about, which is education and the importance of education. And sometimes having a singular idea, what do we have to do? We have to go out and pitch it. We have to sell it to everyone, right? Because there's not a base, a foundation of agreement that's been found. I'm going to give you this because this is part of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, to which almost every nation on this planet has agreed to follow or has agreed to adopt. Most of them don't even know it exists. Right after World War II, when the vote was taken, most of them agreed to adopt this. Article number 26, everyone has the right to education. Education shall be free, at least in the elementary and fundamental stages. Elementary education shall be compulsory. Technical and professional education shall be made generally available, and higher education shall be equally accessible to all on the basis of merit. 2, education shall be directed to the full development of the human personality and to the strengthening of respect for human rights and fundamental freedoms. It shall promote understanding, tolerance, and friendship among all nations, racial or religious groups, and shall further the activities of the United Nations for the maintenance of peace. 3, parents have a prior right to choose the kind of education that shall be given to their children. Okay, so that's policy. That's something that we don't have to get agreement on from the different governments around the world. We just need to get them to enforce it. You see, the rules are already there. You know, so it's just I wanted to leave you with that, but I think there's a lot that we can do to bring about good in this world. And there you go. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bruce. Thank you very much. I thank you very much for that beautiful silver plate that I didn't expect. You honored me. Thank you, thank you. And honestly speaking, I also need one once in a while. I'm very, very, very pleased with that. Thank you. Yeah, we were together in India, or we are still, doing so many activities which bring peace and harmony to humanity. And one thing I always find in Dr. Bruce is, he will just make it a time. Sometimes, we get out of contact for a year or maybe 6 months, 10 months, but he'll say, Selvin, I'm coming to Madurai. He won't tell me the time. But I have to go to the airport and wait for him. He will make a big company there, and he'll sit there and say, I know this gentleman, and my friends, they crowd him. He's a very, very popular guy in India. Popular person in India. And thank you, Bruce. You are always there whenever we look for you. And of course, we will also reciprocate you that way. And our friendship is great and unconditional. There is no limits for that. It is unlimited. Thank you. And let me invite another very, very, very important person. I believe that God is sending angels when we really need help in time. They are called the saviors. And in my matters in India, I found a savior, and he is Mr. Xavier Krishnanayagam, who till recently used to be an Indian administrative officer with the army of employees under him for the social welfare for the state of Tamil Nadu. You can imagine he had a team of 12,000, 13,000 government paid employees working under him. So he has taken so much of pain, and he has been very kind, and now he is here to bless us all. And now I welcome Mr. Xavier Krishnanayagam. Please, sir, please come to the
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I have privilege to be here. Last year, I couldn't come here at the right on time, but the previous year I was here. It was a wonderful gathering, like what it is today. I am really pleased to be present here today and to see all the dignitaries. And everyone is special here. Unlike the large number of persons we are dealing with in the governmental service, here we see the gems of persons. See, everyone is unique here. No doubt, every human being is unique, but here distinguished persons who are distinguished themselves, they have come here. As rightly said, Dr. Salim Kumar has a knack of spotting the persons and inviting them to come for a program like this. A wonderful thing. Last year I was so sad I couldn't come here because at that point of time I was working as an IAS officer, Indian Administrative Service officer, and I have to necessarily, you know the constraints. You will have to apply first for going abroad. Secondly, permission to speak in a program. And thirdly, you will have to reach in time again, right on time to join duty. And what are the constraints means? These are constraints put on persons because of good intentions only. Good intentions always doesn't work. See, if you allow a person to go, you have to allow him well in advance. That doesn't happen sometimes. But anyhow, see, as he has said, I was fortunate in life. God has been really great to me. And I have been very happily helping people throughout my career. But this is not an occasion to recount what all I have done, what I have not done and things like that. But the colossal work which is entrusted to a person like an IAS officer in the government of India service, you will know. And I am sorry, Dr. Salim Kumar said a lesser number. Under my control, at that point of time, for nearly 4 years, 1,57,000 persons were working, feeding their children. We have a school program where feeding program is going on. That is called noon meal program. This one was started first by Mr. Kamaraj. I don't know how many people will remember, but he is one of a gem of a person in politics. We have a negative angle of politicians. Here we have the mayor of an important county. I am really glad to see her. And we have got different experiences. Kamaraj is a person, you will remember, he didn't do anything for his own family. Nothing. He was a bachelor. But power was given to him. Power comes to a person, I believe, it is God given. We may vote and make a person great, a great leader. But he is distinctive leader because of his own, not only his abilities, even otherwise. I am not a very religious person as such, but I will recount the story everyone knows about Moses. The story of Moses. God had a plan. See, it is not that I am great or you are great. I would rather say it is my belief. God makes you great for a purpose. The purpose is given to you so that you will be of some use to people. That's what I believe. Moses' story you know very well. He was a Jew, born in Egypt, and that during those days, when a male member is born in a Jewish family, he has to be necessarily killed. If the midwife doesn't report the matter to the authorities or to the king, she will be put to death. What happened? The mother did not want to kill the child. There is a matter of providence in that. She allows the child to live. After some time, puts him in a basket, and in the Nile he is being floated. And when it is going, that the queen or the sister of the king, Pharaoh, see the child, obviously she knows. Why should a child be sent in a basket in the Nile? Among the reeds, the child is there, and she takes it. She grows it. The own mother of the child is going to be the midwife or something. She is feeding, and he is waiting. He is growing like a prince in the Pharaoh's palace. He is doing everything good. He is destined to do good. He is having the interest to do things, and he is doing everything. And here, I see in front of us so many of you like that. You are destined to do things. If Dr. Sundaran is here means, Engineer Sundaran is here means, you are destined to do good things to people. Cancer treatment, you are supposed to give the best technology for cancer treatment. I have seen so many people die. I think you are doing a wonderful service. And coming today here, I think it's God's will. So that you will be knowing so many people work in the different fields. In education, no doubt healthcare and things like that. It is an occasion for us to associate with him. Not that he is coming and associating, we will be associating in whatever is possible because he is having a foundation also. Here I find Dr. Sajjan is here, there are other people doing social service. You have the access to people. And let us put our energies together, synergy, let us have it. It is now brought to today because of Dr. Selvan Kumar. I know him personally, he is distantly related to me. In a way, he is a cousin. But that doesn't stop me from praising him. He is doing really wonderful work in education. He is doing wonderful work in social service. He is doing what I was talking to him some other day. Then he said, at least 20 families are being supported by me. It is not, sorry for telling, charity begins at home. Minimum 20 families are living because of him. Helpless families. I know them, one or two of them. But what I say is that here it's an opportunity for us to come and correlate. It's a God-given opportunity. I am really thankful for that. I thank every one of you for coming here on my behalf as well as on the behalf of Dr. Selvan Kumar. You are all special people. You have been invited, chosen a lot. I am really happy to associate with you people in the days to come. I hope that we will be keeping in touch at least occasionally, and we will try to do something for improving the humanity. One small story I want to say before I leave. See, in my native place, Dr. Selvan Kumar knows, we are trying to organize people to do their own things. There is a Muslim, the enclave or a place where the women, sorry if any the Muslim friends are here, don't mistake. They will not be allowed to come and coordinate or correlate with other people of other, the religions and the caste and creed, things like that. But they are in my own village. Then at that point of time only, the cell phones, it came into existence. We had a program in the government of India, it's called minority program, Mahila Samriddhi Yojana scheme. For trying to help, this is a program which helps the women. So 6 months training they give in a particular trade, and some stipend they are giving, and after that what they will do is that you will have to start your own entrepreneurship, your own industry or whatever. So we have taken tailoring. Tailoring is a normal course. The normal course everyone needs to do tailoring, or you are having a cloth, everything. So these women, about 15 of them from Muslim community, we have taken through an NGO of course. Then again 15 persons from the other community we have taken, and they were coming there because of my stature or our own reputation. They came to the one place. Then they said, okay sir, if it is possible for us to have in my own place, in their own place, well, what is there? Okay, you people go there, you have that program, then we arrange everything. Ultimately, see, we gave them that cell phones because these 15 persons, they can always contact these another 15 persons because on a everyday basis, daily basis, they will not be able to meet. Even though they are living in the same locality, they will not be able to meet. So the cell phone was given. Now it has done wonders. At least 15 persons know another 15 persons, they can talk anytime. and they were given SIM cards. Incoming is free. At that point of time, incoming calls are free. So likewise, that what is happening is that some the kind of interaction happens between communities. And another small thing which I want to say, these groups have been encouraged, not only in their tailoring, we have been encouraged, say farming communities are there means, see, why don't you use the earthworm in your own fields? Some earthworm was given to them. This knowledge spreads over the food. They say, okay, how do you do it? No, nothing simple. You get 1 kilo of, there are nurseries, 1 kilo of the worms you are getting. So what do? You dig a small holes, put it there, see that your hens don't go and disturb. It is not farm grown, so many chickens are there. So now today, in my village, if you go there, you will not believe that from the initial place of where you have let out to these earthworms, 2,000 feet you go away, it is still there. All big goats now. And the result is that with the water conservation, the rubber trees which should have been now with the cut off, it is still flourishing. So what happens? You go at a micro level, your knowledge at the micro level it is being given to them. So they use it and the whole area becomes green. So that is my message. So let us all be together in the days to come. World is a small place. You can always come to India. I am living in the Chennai, where Brooks and you studied somewhere else, in this North India. Very vast area, vast cultures. But anyhow, you are always welcome. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Sulil Kumar, for facilitating this program. Thank you all the delegates. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Xavier. Thank you so much. And in fact, some of our activities are being carried out from Chennai. And in fact, it is one of the properties of Mr. Xavier that, he has given me on a very privileged way so that, we are operating some of the projects like distributing gloves and stuff to the people who are doing the low-level jobs. So, thank you. He's not a speaker alone, he's a doer. And he is helpful and he's a source of inspiration and support to us. Thank you, sir. And now, it's the next phase of our ceremony today. And this is the award ceremony now. And I invite Dr. Janani to come to the podium and describe the achievements in brief of those grand achievers. And in the meanwhile, let me welcome all our chief guests sitting on the first table to come to the dais and distribute the awards, please. Please come here. Yeah, please come to the stage.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. Good evening. That's nice. So, welcome all of you to the Grand Achievers 2017 conference. So it's now time for the Youth Achievers Award. To start with, it is Mr. Sugandhan Nayagam, a promising young man with a wise head on his shoulder. He started his career at the age of 18 in the field of banking. He has secured his MA in Economics, MBA degree, and now has reached the highest realms of Indian banking. He is well-traveled and earned a great amount of experience in the field of international trade. Let's cheer up for it.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
The next Youth Achievers Award goes to Preetha Vikram. She's been awarded the Grand Achievers Youth Achievers Award for her entrepreneurial services, for her online business called Bhakti, and for her talent in fine arts.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Congratulations.
So the next Grand Achievers Award goes to Honorable Mayor Judy Paul.
Hold on, I want to be in that picture.
Oh.
Yeah, come on.
You should both be in their picture.
Are we all in?
So.
Yes.
The next Grand Achievers Award 2017 goes to Sharice Jackson Jordan. Please come. Best known for her appearance on the reality TV series The Real Housewives of Potomac, she has made her debut on the Bravo reality series, first episode in January 2016.
Wow.
And she is currently involved with various charitable organizations and serves on the executive board of Knockout Abuse Against Women. Congratulations.
Yes.
Congratulations.
The next Grand Achievers Award goes to Dr. Vincent Panjacharam Posthumous and Dr. Vijay Patrick from Texas. She would collect this. Dr. Vincent Panjacharam is a well-known medical practitioner and a reputed person for his literary contributions. He loved the Tamil language and his greatest passion was for Indian music. He specialized in flute music and had collections of music texts which he has left behind. His sister, Dr. Vijay Patrick, a medical practitioner from Texas, is here with us today to receive his award posthumously.
Oh, that's nice.
The next Grand Achievers Award goes to Mr. Naren Sukram. Guyanese-born Naren Sukram of Ontario, Canada, has been an excellent role model for the immigrant Caribbean population in Canada. In 2013, he was named one of the RBC's top 25 Canadian immigrants for the continued support he offered to the other immigrants for more than 20 years. Naren currently works as a job developer at Rutherford Employment Services and is the founder, owner of Empower Employment. Congratulations. Next Grand Achievers Award goes to Thangamani Paulsamy. Mr. Thangamani Paulsamy is the traditioner of FETNA, Assistant Principal, Alfreda Tamil School, former President of Greater Atlanta Tamil Sangam, GATS, former Chairman of GATS.
Congratulations.
Mr. Thangamani obtained his Bachelor of Engineering degree in Computer Science and Engineering from Bharatanatyam University. Congratulations. The next Grand Achievers Award goes to Mr. Anand Panjacharam. He is the proprietor of Majestic Law Firm in Chennai, a law graduate from Dr. Ambedkar Law College. He is a practicing lawyer in the High Court of Madras and in the subordinate courts in the state of Tamil Nadu for the past 19 years. Congratulations, Mr. Anand.
Congratulations.
The next Grand Achievers Award goes to Ms. Preeti, the founder, proud owner of Nina Jewelers and Anchal Boutique, the first business in the Maryland area that had a one-stop shop.
Oh,
It consisted of clothing, jewelry, groceries, and electronics in one building.
very nice.
She is a very successful women entrepreneur for almost 3 decades.
Congratulations.
She has a repute of being kind and generous to all people. Congratulations, Ms. Preeti. Next award goes to Dr. Perungo Kavi, Mr. V.M. Sethuraman, popularly known as Vamusi and respectively called as Perungo Kavi, the great among the poets, is one among the rare kind of poets. Through his poems, he wishes to propagate and attain universal brotherhood in the global village. Wedded to lofty maxims and committed to sublime values, he always craves for peace and international solidarity. Congratulations, Mr. Sethuraman. The next award goes to Dr. V.S.P. Manikam Posthumous and Mr. Tamil Manigandan. Dr. V.S.P. Manikam is a great scholar in the Tamil language. He was the 5th Vice Chancellor of the Madurai Kamaraj University between the years 1979 to 82. During his term, he has rendered educational services to the university and the Institute of Correspondence course, which is now the distance education that is serving all over the world, including USA. Congratulations. I would now like to call upon Mr. Krishnan Sudhandiran for receiving the Grand Achievers Award.
Mr. Krishnan, the biggest prize is over here.
Yeah, we have Dr. Janani. As I spoke earlier, she is a very great help, and she is working through Law of Attraction in Chennai. She has over 7 lakhs, that is like 100,000, 7 times 700,000 clients under her in throughout India, Malaysia, and Singapore. And she's a very enthusiastic person, and you can always see a great spirit in her that she will go and she will get things done, and she has the courage to do things. And I sincerely congratulate her for her enthusiasm. I pray God her blessings, and definitely
One important point I forgot.
What?
One most important thing Dr. Kumar forgot about Dr. Janani is she reads people's minds. Be careful, because she reads, that's what she does for a living. She reads people's mind, takes only 5 seconds for her to know who you are. So be careful, 1. Second, be careful of your fingerprints. Your fingerprints is what she reads. I'm not joking, ask her. She does. Would you mind talking about yourself a little bit? Because you've been trying to...
Yeah, later, when that certain speeches, during that. Yeah, we, as Speech Council, we are really honored to give this award to her, and thank you. And now, you think this function is happening within a hall in Gaylord. And by this time, I'm sure it is already in the Facebook. She's
Right.
Facebook queen. Okay, thank you very much. God bless you.
I just want to thank the council, thank the Academy, right? And Dr. Kumar. And, this is really, truly an honor, and I'm very humbled by it. And I know I'm very proud, and I was so pleased that Sejan mentioned the Gandhi statue. Diversity is our strength. And Davie is a very diverse town, and I have worked very diligently to make sure that our diverse community is acknowledged, each and every one. The Indian community in Davie has grown in numbers and in stature, and we're very, very proud of them. And on all the special occasions, we meet at the Gandhi statue in Gandhi Square, which is located in one of Davie's parks. And I understand it's the only place where there is actually a community, a town, a government entity that has given over land for this type of a monument.
The only one.
What? The only one in the country? Oh, right, that's even better. But I know doing this statue meant a great deal to me. I used to teach geography, and when my students decided they wanted to learn more about the world, I created a model UN, and all the students had to represent a country and dress in that culture's wear and to bring in food from that culture. So everybody had an opportunity to learn and to share. And it was at that time, and this was back in the 80s, that I drew a very, very strong tie to the Indian community, and it has not wavered ever since. And I really appreciate this honor, and I know it's going to mean more. The next time I go to see the great statue, I will bring my trophy with me and share it with the great Mahatma Gandhi. Thank you very much.
Okay, Mr. Krishan Sudandran. Yes, Christian Sudandran. Yes, we'd like to hear from you. You already empowered us with your words, but on behalf of, and as an acceptance for the award, if you would come and share some more brilliance and motivation.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. First of all, I want to thank the Peace Council for inviting me to and honor me. This is a great honor. I want to thank Dr. Kumar and his team. And I know I have said a lot about it, but I think that each of us in us have a power. My Cure Foundation logo is "Together we are the cure." So I think that so often people think that we don't have the power to change. Let's look at, a lot of them spoke about Mahatma Gandhi. He accomplished a lot more than any of us could even dream of. He didn't have internet. He didn't have a cell phone. He didn't have an iPad or a laptop or a computer. He didn't have a car. And he didn't even wear a shirt. And the English said, this man doesn't have a shoe, doesn't have a shirt, doesn't have an army. He's walking with a stick. How can he defeat us? But he did. But it shows the power of one. So on another note, I would like to kind of say what is very, very important for us. You know, there's a huge difference between adults and little children. The two of them, that's very different. The little children want to learn and they're curious. Adults think they know everything. You can't teach them. The children want to enjoy the moment. They're so happy. Adults want to enjoy sometime in the future. So one time, this is many years ago, one of the Americans went to Thailand on a Peace Corps mission. So he was working with a Thai gentleman and he was kind of taking it easy and always happy-go-lucky. So this American one day sat him down and asked him, how come you don't work hard and you don't take, you're always taking it easy, having happy-go-lucky? So this Thai gentleman asked him, why should I work hard? And he said, well, you work hard and then you save money. And then what? He said, after 65, you retire and then you enjoy life. And the Thai gentleman said, I'm enjoying now. What do you want me to wait until I'm 65? So the point, what I want to say is that yesterday is like canceled check. It is spent, there's nothing you can do about it. Tomorrow is like a promissory note. You may or may not collect it. Today is called a present. It's a gift. It's like cash. So we have to enjoy the moment. So often, we don't enjoy the moment. If somebody gave you 484,000 US dollars, which is equivalent to 24 times 60 minutes times 60 seconds, is 484,000 seconds. And that, say, you get this money when you get up in the morning. When you go to bed, whatever that you didn't spend is lost. What would you do? You keep spending all of it and enjoying that. My folks, today is the present and it's a gift. And life is a gift from our parents. And we're born to live and cherish our gift. We can look at every opportunity as an obstacle, or every obstacle as an opportunity. The choice is ours. What we do is where we are, what we are, how we are. It depends on the choices we have made and the choices we have not made. Our career and our service to the community are the outcome of what we do with the gift from our parents. So I tell people, my parents are my God. They're the one I met. They're the one I know. They're the one who brought me up. They're the one that gave me what I have. So they're my God. While I believe in all gods, my parents are my God. So we have to remember that this is our chance to make a contribution to the society, because all of us have more than what we need. You know, there's one more secret that most people don't remember, but don't tell everybody the secret. That is, we come to this world with nothing and we take nothing with us. We're all here on a temporary lease. Our lease will expire someday, some moment. I don't know when that is. But I tell people, I said, you know, I want to die poor. I don't want to leave a lot of money and so somebody else can enjoy it. I said, what do I want to do that? I'd rather give it away when I'm around. And so we have to treat everyone we come across with respect and dignity. And children, adults, young women, and anybody. So one day I was at the doctor's hospital in Lanham, Maryland. I was with one of the world's best neurosurgeon and the vice president of the hospital. The neurosurgeon has invited me to meet with the vice president of the hospital, and I was visiting them. All three of us were trying to get into the elevator to go to the vice president's office after a tour. There was a lady who came by, and she was trying to say, how do I get to somewhere? So I told those two gentlemen, I said, look, let me try to help this lady, and then I'll meet you in your office. So I made sure that the lady got to where she wanted to go, and then went back to the meeting. And they were surprised. They felt that the vice president of the hospital, even today when I meet him, he always remembered that. The little kindness we show others make a bigger difference. Okay? I'll tell you another story. I was at Sacramento, visiting one of the cancer centers, and I was in the parking lot parking my car. The next to that, a lady was parking, and it was raining, drizzling a little bit. It was rain, and there's some water puddles in the parking lot. So after I got out, I noticed that she's struggling to get out of the car. I went and opened the door and then helped her to get out of the car, and she was walking with her cane. So I told her to hold my hand to walk her to the front entrance. So during the time while we were walking, and she said, you know, I'm a former mayor of Sacramento. So, you know, the idea about that, we need to recognize that how significant it is. I was in Moscow 5 weeks ago for a few days. And all of us were trying to get out of the elevator, and some lady was trying to get into the elevator. And I made sure I kept the door open for this lady to get in the elevator. The rest of them were shocked. First of all, I'm taking the time to hold the elevator open for this lady. Second, the person who's trying to get into the elevator is a lady, because historically, men don't appreciate women. So the point is that I think whether you were trying to help someone get out of the car, whether you're trying to keep the door open for someone to get in the elevator, my friends, a little bit of kindness towards others goes a lot ways, and God meant that we all will try to help others because He knows He can't help everybody. He gave us more opportunities, more talent, more wealth, so we will help others. So let's be kind and caring to each other. So sometimes what happens is that there are people who insult you. If someone insults you, don't think it's about you. It's about the character of the person insulting. It shows the person who insults you is a lousy character. So don't take it upon you. So I think so often, and people, okay? And I tell people, I said, no, it's the character of that person. And so we have to ignore that. So I think there's so often people tend to insult other people. And right or wrong, but I think no one deserves any insult from anybody because no human being is better than the other human being. So anyhow, my friends, thank you for the invitation, and love to see you all again. Bye-bye.
I'm going to call you up again just because every time you come up, I get inspired. All right. So.
I'm going to make myself worthy of coming here.
Thank you. And is Charisse here? No, Charisse left. Okay, good. Nareen Sukaran, please. Inspire us.
All right. Anyways, for those of you who don't know me, I was born and raised in Guyana, but I live in Canada. When I look at the Canadians, it reminds me of a beautiful flower. But today, when I look at each and every one of you, it reminds me of a garden full of roses. You know, in my opinion, we all have a purpose, but it's up to us to dig deep into ourselves to find out what that purpose is. And I found mine a long time ago. I encourage each and every one of you to utilize your skills and resources you have to maximize your potential so that together we can build our community, we can build our country and so on to a very high standard, setting an example for others to follow. And if you choose to do that, don't hesitate, don't wait for tomorrow, because what was yesterday is no longer today, and what was earlier today is no longer now. Meaning, for example, a flower once broken off from its limb never blossoms again. This is a chance of a lifetime for each and every one of us to make the garden for our own existence. With that little advice, thank you for listening. My name is Narayan, wishing you a great today and even better tomorrow. Thank you. And just one quick advice. For the next event, we have to monitor time. That's going to be my only advice. Acceptance speech should not be more than 30 seconds. Thank you.
Touche. Pramrad Sajya? He's gone. Okay. And would you mind? Yes. I'm going to have someone who will recognize the names that are being said actually make the introductions.
Okay.
Instead of killing it.
Dr. Vijay Patrick for Mr. Winston Panchacha.
I just want to give thanks to Dr. Kumar for giving me this opportunity to talk, for his invitation. I'm in awe about his ability to collect people and his to inspire, include and inspire to do what they're doing, as well as to do more. Dr. Kumar does not know my brother, but there is somebody here who knows him for almost 40 years, Mr. Penankaviko Seduraman. But when my brother passed away last year in November, and he had left some treasure books, literary books. He had a passion to promote Tamil music, as well as he worked with Penankaviko Seduraman on attaining URA, and his dream was to hoist flag in Jaffna, but nothing of that happened. Anyway, so what he left was books, and I called the Jaffna library to see whether I can ship those books to them, because as you know, during the riots, they burned the library and a lot of damage to all the books, and they lost a lot. So when I called, the response I got was, sorry, we don't have space. I was shocked because some of my friends who had been to Jaffna said, there's a lot of space. So I don't know why the books didn't go there, but I think there was a purpose for the books to come here. So I Googled and I found the Tamil University, International University, and I called. So the person who answered was Dr. Kumar's able assistant Shanti. And after a few conversations, we got together, and then he said, the first thing he said was, okay, there's a conference in May, and you have to come, and we'll give an award to your brother. I was shocked, I was just going to donate the books, and here he was inviting me to come. I was curious, I wanted to come and see what was happening here. So I met him for the first time 2 days ago, and I met Shanti for the first time 2 days ago. And when I met him 2 days ago, I asked him, what's the purpose, what's the goal for this conference? And he said, when people do something wrong, they go to prison. But when people do right, no one is there to appreciate them or give them awards. I think that was great, Dr. Kumar, and I'm really thankful for this opportunity. And I'm sure I'm going to come next time too, next year too. As long as you have it, I will come. Thank you.
Mr. Anand Panchacharan, please come up.
Good evening, everybody. First of all, I am thanks to Heartwinder, the substitute name of Dr. Selvin Kumar. Once you are interacting with the people, so then next time he is not talking in the word of mouth, only heart to heart. Only once I seen him, I fell down. So because of his love, he's like that. Apart from that, I need to say, the very good admin, very powerful women with him, so is all his success, Shanti. So it's very good administration women with Dr. Selvin Kumar. It is a very big, great of this successful everything. So apart from that, so I am selected this award as a legal professionalist. So I need to say in India, my learned friend lawyer in America is sitting there. See, first in the law profession in India, there are 4 stages. One is no case, then only case, then third stage is case and fees. Once the lawyer is succeed, it is only fees, no case. Even I am in America, my case is going on in India, so money only will come. So it is reached that stage, it is the end of the lawyer's success. So India is a very big country for 126 crores of the population. So it is a very big deal to deal the advocate proportion there, because it is divided by the 25,000 of communities. In the main caste of 3,500 communities, totally 28,000 community. So these people we have to approach very carefully, and we have to take very peaceful manner, very gracefully. So whoever come to us, not economically equal in all are like that in America. So one is a very big multi-millionaire, and another one is starving for the next day of food. So that kind of people is available. So whoever come to us to the lawyer, so we have to see them as one of the patient like. So the lawyers always not expecting money. So once this is the proportion called in the world, this is a noble proportion. The law proportion only is the noble proportion in the world. We can do the matter for not even single rupees taking from the client. And also the same matter, we can get the crores of crores rupees in the law proportion. So this is called the noble proportion. So some other proportion is not like that. So we have to spend and take back their profit. So this law proportion is like that. Apart from that, I need to say something. In all Indian leaders, the very big lawyers, so it's Mahatma Gandhi and Motilal Nehru, they are the Jawaharlal Nehru, Prime Minister of India, father, he is an advocate. So then it is Mahatma Gandhi, and Indian Constitution drafted by Dr. Ambedkar, who was studied in Columbia University in New York. So the Columbia University has announced the 100 years of this centenary, the first intellectual man is Dr. Ambedkar. So he only drafted Indian Constitution. Apart from that, all the other mayors and Mr. Krishnan sir and mother, everybody is talking about the education. The education is empowerment is very important. It is called the tiger milk. One who getting the tiger milk, They got everything. Once it's reached the education, we got the health, we got the wealth, we got the clothes, we got the property. So everything. So through the education is on a tiger milk. We can get everything through the education. In human rights, regarding talking, my close friend is talking that international human rights. There is on international human rights. It's dealing with India. It's very difficult because the human humiliated by the police officer in front of the son. His father was removed the clothes and all. This all they call this human rights. It's a very big problems dealing the human rights. But the human rights, the taking the lawyers the first opportunity to give the people to they are getting that human rights. So it's a law is very big in India. So this cannot like this in America. So everybody is. I am thankful once again in the very great occasion. Thank you very much.
Ms. Preeti Shah, please come on stage.
Good evening, everybody. First of all, I wasn't prepared for anything. I just wrote a few words about this, and I'll read it to you. Thank you, everyone, and special thank you for Dr. Kumar for this wonderful recognition. This award has been an honor to receive. In preparation for today, I was forced to self-reflect and could not believe that I have been a business owner for close to 27 years in the Washington, D.C. area. Then started thinking about how many people in the community I've served and how many lives I've touched in some capacity. I remember this one customer who I sold jewelry and bridal fashion close to 27 years ago, and then recently I sold her daughter bridal jewelry. It was so gratifying to see people continue to practice traditions and culture there in the US. I hope to continue to do the same. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
Next, Dr. Perangaviko V.M. Seduraman.
இந்த வேலையில் நீங்கள் பேசுகிறவங்கெல்லாம் ஆங்கிலத்தில் பேசுகிறீங்க. நான் இப்பொழுது என்னுடைய தாய்மொழியான தமிழில் பேசுகிறேன். நீங்கள் எல்லோரும் இங்கே அதிகமாக தமிழ் கொஞ்சம் பேர் வந்திருக்கீங்க நினைக்கிறேன். அப்படி நான் பேசுகிறது உங்களுக்கு புரியலைன்னா நம்முடைய செல்வின்குமார்கிட்டையோ ஒரு யார்கிட்டையோ கேட்டு தெரிஞ்சுக்கோங்க. பெருமதிப்புக்குரிய ஐயா செல்வின்குமார் அவர்களே, அவரோடு இணைந்து இந்த அருமையான எல்லோரையும் ஊக்கப்படுத்தக்கூடிய எழுச்சி தரக்கூடிய இந்த விழாவை நடத்திய அனைத்து பெருமக்களே, என்னை இங்கு அழைத்து வந்த உலகத்தமிழ் அறக்கட்டளையுடைய நிறுவனர் தம்பி தமிழ்மொழிகண்டனார் அவர்களே, அறிஞர்களே, தாய்மார்களே, பெருமக்களே, உங்கள் அனைவருக்கும் வணக்கம். தமிழில் ஒரு பாட்டு சொன்னார் ஐயா, நல்லார் உலர் ஒருவர் உலரில் அவர் உலர்ட்டு எல்லாருக்கும் பெய்யும் மொழின்னு. அதே மாதிரி நம்முடைய டாக்டர் பஞ்சாச்சலம் அவர் எனக்கு 1985 தெரியும். அவர் மிகப்பெரிய முத்தமிழ் புத்தகர்னு சொல்லணும். 7 இசை நாடகத்தில் ரொம்ப கெட்டிக்காரர். நீங்கள் ஹியூமன் ரைட்ஸ்ன்னு சொல்கிறோம்ல, மனிதனையும் அமைதி, இந்த ரெண்டுக்கும் தமிழ் மக்களுக்காக அதிகமாக பாடுபட்டவர். ஈழத்தில் இருக்கக்கூடிய போராட்டங்களில் அவருடைய உரிமைக்காக வேண்டியும் அங்கே அமைதி ஏற்படுவதற்காக வேண்டியும் பல மாநாடுகளை நடத்தவர். நான் அவரோட சேர்ந்து 1981 90 வரைக்கும் ஒரு 5 மாநாடு நடத்தியிருக்கோம். அப்பேற்பட்ட பெருமகனுக்கு நினைச்சு பார்த்து யாருமே அவர் நினைக்கலை. மிகப்பெரிய ஆற்றலுடையவர், தமிழர்களுக்காக பல காரியம் செய்வார். பெரிய மருத்துவ வேதை, மனைவி மருத்துவர். அவருக்கு நம்முடைய செல்வின் அவர்கள் இங்கே நினைச்சி பட்டு கொடுத்துருக்கா, பாராட்டு தெரிவிச்சிருக்காரு, இந்த விருது கொடுத்துருக்காருன்னா அவருக்கு கோடி கோடி புண்ணியம். அவர் மிக பெரிய அளவுக்கு பாராட்டணும். எல்லாரும் அவருக்காக அவர் தெரிஞ்சிருக்காங்க. அதே மாதிரி மிகப்பெரிய எத்தனையோ துணைவேந்தர்கள் இருக்கிறாங்க உலகத்தில். எங்கள் ஊரில் சேவையெல்லாம் வந்திருக்காங்க, இங்கே வழக்கறிஞர் வந்திருக்காரு, அவங்களுக்குலாம் தெரியும். ஆனால் துணைவேந்தர்கள்லேயே மிகப்பெரிய அளவுக்கு உண்மையாகவும் நேர்மையாகவும் உறுதியாகவும் தமிழர்களுக்காக உழைத்து தமிழ் மொழிக்காக உழைத்தவர் நம்முடைய முனைவர் வாசவ மாணிக்கனார். டாக்டர் வாசவ மாணிக்கம் வைஸ் சான்சலராக இருந்தார். அந்த பல்கலைக்கழகத்தில் ஐயா பணியாற்றினார். அவரை நினைத்து பார்த்து இப்பொழுது அவருக்கு இந்த விருதை கொடுத்திருக்கிறார்கள். அதையும் நம்ம ரொம்ப பாராட்ட வேண்டியிருக்கு. எனக்கு இந்த விருது கிடைச்சது ஆச்சரியமானது. இந்த கனடாவில், இங்கே கனடா 2 வருஷம் வந்திருக்காரு, அங்கே வந்து எனக்கு ஒரு விருது கொடுத்தாங்க, வாழ்நாள் விருது. கனடாவில் டொரண்டாவில் கொடுத்தாங்க சென்ற மாதம். அதை வாங்க வந்திருக்கும் போது நம்ம அம்மா விஜயலட்சுமி அம்மா சொன்னாங்க, இந்த மாதிரி ஐயா ஒரு விருது கொடுக்குறாரு ஐயா செல்வன்குமார் நம்முடைய பஞ்சாட்சரத்துக்கு, நான் அதை வாங்க போகிறேன்னு சொல்லும்போது நான் அவர்கிட்ட பேசினேன். அப்புறம் என்னுடைய மகன் தமிழ்மணி கண்டனார் பேசுகிறாரு. அதன் வாயிலாக நிலையாமல் முன்வந்து நிற்பினும் நிற்கும் எல்லாம் இணையாத ஈசன் செயல்னு ஒரு பாட்டு இருக்குது. அது ஒரு யதார்த்தமாக ஒரு நம்ம நினச்சி பார்க்காத அளவுக்கு இந்த விருதை ஐயா அவர்கள் எனக்கு கொடுத்துருக்காங்க. நான் செய்திருக்க தொண்டுகள் வந்து அளப்பரியது. அது நான் ஒரு இறை நம்பிக்கையாளர். இங்கே சொன்னார் ஐயா அம்பேத்கரை பற்றிலாம் சொன்னார், காந்தியை பற்றி சொன்னார். நாங்கள்லாம் இவ்வளோ தூரம் தமிழ்நாட்டில் முன்னுக்கு வந்திருக்கோம்னா அதுக்கு தந்தை பெரியார் முக்கிய காரணம், அறிஞர் அண்ணா, கலைஞர். இப்படி அப்பேற்பட்ட ஒரு பெரிய பாரம்பரியத்தில் வந்து இன்றைக்கி ஒரு 1,00,000 கவிதைகள் நான் எழுதியிருக்கிறேன். இப்போ கம்பன் 6 காண்டம் எழுதியிருக்காங்க ராமாயணம். நான் இன்றைக்கி இருக்கிற வாழ்வியலை வைத்து சேது காப்பியம்னு 8 காண்டம் எழுதியிருக்கிறேன். இன்னும் 14 காண்டம் எழுதணும். 1,00,000 கவிதைகள் பதிவிச்சிருக்கேன். கன்னியாகுமரி சென்னை வரைக்கும் தமிழ்நாடை பயணம் பண்ணியிருக்கேன். செம்மொழி வர்றதுக்கு, ஈழத்தோடைய பிரச்சனை தீர்றதுக்கு. அப்படி மன்மோகன் சிங் அவருடைய முன்பு இருந்த வாஜ்பாய் போன்ற பிரதம மந்திரிகள்லாம் நேரடியாக சந்தித்து அறிஞரோடு சந்தித்து அளவிட முடியாத பெரும் பணி. இவற்றையெல்லாம் தெரிந்து நம்முடைய ஐயா செல்வன்குமார் அவர்கள் இங்கே எங்களுக்கு இந்த விருதை குறித்திருக்கிறார்கள். இந்த விருதாளர்கள் அனைவருக்கும் என்னுடைய வணக்கம் தெரிவித்துக் கொண்டு, உலகத்தில் நம்ம எவ்வளோ பேர் பிறக்கிறோம் போகிறோம். ஒரு திருவள்ளுவருக்கு ஆலயம் கட்டியிருக்காரு. அது எவ்வளோ பெரிய விஷயம். திருவள்ளுவர் சொல்லியிருக்காரு, நல்ல காரியம் செய்தோன்னா மிக சிறப்பான முறையில் நன்றி பாராட்டணும். அதுதான் உலகத்தில் ஒரு மனுஷன் பிறந்ததுக்கு அடையாளம். அந்த திருவள்ளுவர் சொன்ன நெருப்படி உலகத்தில் இருக்கிற சேவை செய்வர்களாக கூப்பிட்டு ஒரு பாராட்டுற செல்வன்குமார். அவரை நன்றி பாராட்டக்கூடிய உண்மையானவருக்கு நாம் நன்றி பாராட்டுவோம், அவரை வணங்குவோம், அவரை போற்றுவோம். அது எவ்வளோ பாராட்டாலும் தகுதி சொல்ல வந்துட்டே இருக்குது. தனக்கென வாழ்கிறது சாவுக்கு ஒப்பானது, சமூகத்துக்கு வாழ்கிறது வாழ்வுக்கு ஒப்பானது. இங்கே சொன்னாங்க ஐயா $1,00,000 கொடுத்துருக்காரு. இப்படி பெருமக்கள்லாம் சமுதாயத்துக்காக உழைக்கணும். அதுக்கு முன்னோடியாக, அதுக்கு ஒரு ஆசானாக இருக்கக்கூடியவர் நம்முடைய செல்வன்குமார் அவர்களை நான் வணங்குகிறேன், போற்றுகிறேன். எனக்கு 3 மணித்துள்ள தான் கொடுத்தாங்க, பேசிக்கிட்டே இருக்கலாம். ஆகவே இந்த மனித நேயத்திற்கும் மக்களுடைய வாழ்வுரிமைக்கும் நல்லவற்றை நல்ல தெளிவான உன்னதமான சேவை செய்வதை பாராட்டுவதற்கும் ஒரு எடுத்துக்காட்டாக வாழக்கூடிய பெருமக்கள் அவர்களை பற்றி நான் 4 வரி எழுதியிருக்கேன். ஒரு பாட்டு, இது வெண்பான்னு சொல்லுவாங்க, அதை படிச்சுட்டு வழிபடுறேன். அறிவாற்றல் ஓங்கி வெல்லும் ஆளுமை, அறிவாற்றல் ஓங்கி வெல்லும் ஆளுமை, நல்ல நெறிதேர் குரல் நெறி நேர்மை. அறிவாற்றல் ஓங்கி வெல்லும் ஆளுமை, நல்ல நெறிதேர் குரல் நெறி நேர்மை, செறிவுடையார் செல்வன்குமார். அறிவாற்றல் ஓங்கி வெல்லும் ஆளுமை, நல்ல நெறிதேர் குரல் நெறி நேர்மை, இவையெல்லாம் உடைய செறிவுடையார் செல்வன்குமார். வெற்றி தேர்ந்தாரை பாராட்டும் வல்லவரை ஓட்டியே வாழ்த்து வணங்கு வணக்கம்.
Dr. Chennai, please come on stage.
A warm good evening once again. So this is Dr. Janani from Chennai, India. My mind goes to a king who once called upon one of his ministers and said his minister, I want to award the best profession of the kingdom. And immediately the minister said, I think it's the engineer who needs to be awarded. Because without an engineer, I don't think we would have had all this infrastructure, the dam, the river, the fort. And I think you should be awarding the engineer as the best profession. And immediately there was another minister who stood up and said, I don't think it's the engineer. I think the best award to the best profession should go to the doctors. Because if you are sick and there is an ailment, we need doctors to heal them. And I think the doctors need to be given the award. Again, another minister stood up and said, I don't think it's the doctors, it should be the business community. Because without the business community, I don't think the economical status of the kingdom would have gone up. Likewise, each one went on. Another minister said it's the soldiers who needs to be awarded. I think they are guarding the kingdom. Finally, the king was actually confused. To whom should the award be given, to which profession as the best profession? And finally, the king went to the prime minister. And the prime minister said, yes, I knew you would finally come to me to find out which is the best profession to be awarded. The prime minister said, just give me 5 minutes. He went out of the room and walked back with the old lady, holding the hand of an old lady into the hall. And as the prime minister walked along with the lady inside the hall, immediately the engineer stood up. After some time, the doctor stood up. After some time, the business community stood up, looking at the old lady walking in. And then the soldier stood up. Eventually, everyone inside the palace stood up. Without any reason, the king also stood up when there was no necessity for him to stand. And finally, the king asked the prime minister, who is this old lady that everyone are standing up to? And the prime minister said, she is the lady who needs to be awarded, and she is the teacher who has created all these professions. I wish to share this mutually. One, the role of Dr. Selvan Kumar as to what I look up to is, Doctor, you really don't know what is that you are creating. You are creating all these professions. They are already into a profession like an engineer, doctor, trainer, teacher, whatever. But I think everyone needs an acknowledgement. Based on that acknowledgement, Dr. Janani stands here. I'm the founder of Rex Pride Training and Development. I run my training company in Chennai, India. I basically train people under all walks of life. I've trained close to 700,000 people as on date. I'm an author. I've written about 20 books. I basically write on skill development. I also run a company called Genius India. It's a study of brainology. Basically, I'm a brain reader, and that's what Dr. Sajjan said. I would show you a sample of how this goes. It's a scientific study called dermatoglyphics. I've been doing a research on it for the past 5 years, and it has been very successfully accepted and acknowledged across the world. I also run an NGO called SSAT Educational Charitable Trust. One of my signature program happens to be Law of Attraction. I have attracted Dr. Selvan Kumar and he has attracted me. And I think the Law of Attraction has worked for us. So basically, whenever there is an announcement, most of the Sundays, it's a program that's happening across India, Malaysia, or Singapore. I go and conduct the program on Law of Attraction. So when people see this, one common thing that crops up, there would be a group of lawyers who would call me and ask, is there a new law introduced? I tell them no. Then there is another group of people who would call me and ask, is Law of Attraction only for couples? Not even for them. Law of Attraction basically says thoughts become things. Whatever you think, it becomes in reality. And I take that in an 8-hour experiential program, and the testimonials I've been receiving is instant transformation. People attending a one-day program of mine, by the end of the session at 6 in the evening, they would say it's an instant transformation through Law of Attraction. So this is about me, Dr. Janani. And here, I would just give you a sample of how this brain reading works. 2 volunteers can come up. I would be able to reveal your genetic personality. And this has nothing to do with astrology, palmology, or numerology. It is completely a scientific tool which can be done from a 1-year-old child and no age limits. Just 2 volunteers. Please come up. And this is the torch that I'm using.
If you want to see it, we can't see it.
There you go.
What's your name?
Jaden. Jaden.
Right. Okay. Yours? Jaden, right. Okay, so who's accompanied Jaden here? Okay, so you could relate to what I'm saying, right? See, basically we compare human beings with 4 birds, okay? We compare the personality with birds. These 4 bird characteristics are peacock, eagle, owl and dove. Jaden happens to be a dove personality. Symbol of love, peace and harmony. Your strength is people management. Building good relationships, making friends easily. Should I say the weakness?
Yeah.
Is it okay?
Yeah.
Probably you could lack a bit on assertive skills. Too quick in telling the yes, too late in telling the no. And also quite an emotional person. So Jaden, how much you could relate with what I've said?
All of it.
What do you need to do? Thank you. See, I have revealed only his personality by reading one of his thumb. So we scan the 10 fingerprints and we give you a 50-page report. The report would reveal A to Z of an individual, and this is based on genes. It's a genetic study. Okay, thank you. Preetha. So who's here relating to Preetha? Same. Preetha happens to be an eagle personality. Very strong leadership skills, quite dominant, firm, bold and aggressive. Your strength is being a perfectionist. You look for too many things to be in order. You want things to be organized. Your weakness happens to be the same. You can get into kind of conflicts, confrontation and argument because you expect the same level of perfection from everyone. And when you don't get that, that can disturb your peace of mind. How much you could relate with what I've said?
Yeah.
Thank you. The reason why I thought I should do the sharing is I believe by what I am benefited, I have the privilege to give it back to the world. I believe in learning, earning and returning. I've learned enough, I've earned enough, and I think the third stage is returning. It's giving, and it's giving back to people. The same study, brainology, is also used for special children. Children with autism, Down syndrome and dyslexia. So I would just like to share a small incident and then finish with my speech here. So we came across a parents, of course, in India. Father happened to be a psychiatrist, mother happened to be a psychologist. And they have a 22-year-old son who is an autistic child. And of course, being autism, they have undergone all the tests across the world. They've spent enough and they had come to one position where they felt they have nothing more left to do with that boy. And with a lot of frustration, they had reached a stage of doing mercy killing. And that was the time when one family introduced me to them and they said, why not just give a try? Maybe if something can work out through your testing, it could help the child. And eventually they came to us, we did their scans of their 10 fingerprints and we got the 50-page report. Of course, being an autistic child, the report could not reveal much. But out of the 8 multiple intelligence that we all have, this boy had one intelligence which was super high, and that was musical intelligence. And the second intelligence, which was about 25% high, was his fine motor skills. Meaning to say usage of fingers was quite good. So nothing to do with the counseling after the report had come. So only one thing what we could tell was to use his musical intelligence, and since fine motor skills was good, he could play instruments. So initially, the parents were not convinced about the report. So they felt we've spent enough, we've seen the best doctors in the world. So I don't think we are not left with any more hope on this boy. Still, I just told them it's a choice, you want to do it, you can take it up. And then we put this child on a special musical training, and we had given them certain particular instruments to play. And less than 3 months, we saw the boy responding 60%, which did not happen in the last 22 years. He started to use his fingers, he was able to comb his hair, he was able to button his shirts. And this was the improvement after 22 long years, because we worked on the strength of the child and we never worked on the weakness. So this is the study of brainology, and I once again wish to thank Dr. Selvan Kumar for having given me this opportunity here. This is definitely an honor for me, having reached 700,000 people without a recognition. And I think with this kind of a recognition, I will be reaching globally. Loving you all so much, wishing you all the very, very best. Thank you.
I'd like to call Mr. Tamil Manikandan for Dr. VSB Manikan.
Honorable guest and all grand, majestic grand achievers, really thank you for such a great event. I want to really personally and behalf of my father as well as Dr. Vasupa Manikan, our family, I want to thank Dr. Selvan P. Kumar, such a great person. It's been an honor. I have an important role today play because my father is such a great Tamil poet as well as a scholar. He has done such more great things, as well as I'm now representing Dr. Vasupa Manikanar, who is such a miraculously a very global Tamil leader, where my father and him, they both work together and they have done a lot more Tamil services. And specifically for Dr. Vasupa Manikanar, he was the Vice Chancellor for Madurai Kamarajar University between the period of 1979 to 85. During that period, 1812, thanks for the corrections, our Honorable Dr. Selvan P. Kumar was a professor there. He has a direct relationship with this great personality. So we happened to, talk to the family of Dr. Vasupa Manikanar, and we decided to celebrate the 100th year celebration in United States, here in Maryland. So we did a very big one-day event. We talked about various aspects of Dr. Vasupa Manikanar, where he has written more than 36 books in Tamil. And he talked about various, poems, which is the very oldest, literature, Purana Nuru. He has translated many poems. And also he's a very, very, kind of South Indian Gandhi related person. Very honest, very humble, down to earth, right, straight, direct, and helping nature to everybody. So it will be actually more appropriate me talking about Dr. Vasupa Manikanar than actually it should be Dr. Selvan Kumar. So I take this opportunity to actually request a doctor to come over stage and release a great magazine that we are planning to release it for tomorrow along with my father. And also I request Honorable Mayor, if you could please kindly.
Truthful Manikam, which is people call him as Unmai Manikam, the honest man of South India. And I had the privilege of working with, I joined the Madurai Kamarajar University in 1976 as a lecturer. And between the years 79 and 82, I had the privilege of working under him as a lecturer. And that's the time when M.G. Ramachandran, our former Honorable Chief Minister, was there. And I'm glad, our Honorable M.G. Ramachandran's daughter is here. Oh. And please come here. Both of you. Yeah, please. And they are also in New York City. And, they conducted the most beautiful or most spoken second World Tamil Conference in Madurai. That was done by Dr. Sri Manikam. And it was all under the guidance of the Honorable M.G. Ramachandran. So I deem it as a great pleasure to release this beautiful magazine, which is the Ulayar Tamil Modi, which is the light of Tamils across the world. God bless the efforts, and I present it to you, man.
You hold magazine up, sorry,
Everybody, yeah, you can hold that. Hold on, don't leave yet. Hold on, one second.
Please, Judy? Oh, paparazzi.
Carol, I was
over
in the center. Jim, paparazzi. You're fine. You
I
can-
am, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is for me?
And it becomes a life-changing loan for them. The normal interest rates are hovering around 9.5% now in India. But the differential rate loans are provided at 4.5%. So you can imagine the extent of benefit they get out of it. It is really satisfying when you see people benefiting out of it. And now, about Peace Council, whenever I listen to the word peace, I am reminded of a poem which I studied in school. It starts like this. The meaning is very simple. A person takes care of his family, his kids, and is happy with his wife. He has a heart a size of a mustard seed. A person who cares about his street, his neighborhood, he has a heart of a mango, the heart the size of a mango. And finally, he goes on to say that a person who takes care of anybody he sees around, or who looks at people as his equal, or he cares, or somebody who cares for each and every person, is having a heart of a mother. Tomorrow happens to be Mother's Day here. So what I personally feel is that whatever we do, it may be as simple as doing a personal thing, you meet somebody, or doing a very big business, you always look through the eyes of a mother. Once we start doing that, I think it will make a big change. Thank you.
Let's have Preetha Vikram on the stage. Hi everyone, I'm Preetha. I'm 16 years old and I go to Walt Whitman High School in Bethesda, Maryland. First, I just want to thank everyone here for coming, and I hope you all enjoyed my dance that I did earlier. One thing I do is, in my school, there are a lot of people just like youth and like different people that I hope to reach out to with the stuff that I'm doing. So over the summer, I visited India, and I visit every year, usually because I have grandparents living there, but you know, when like you're from America, you're kind of like, when I go to India, I'm kind of in this bubble, and like, I'm really not that experienced to everyone around me. So last year I got to really experience like working with a ton of different people there. I went to various orphanages and I got to meet all these amazing kids. And I visited a local college in a village in India, and I gave a presentation there about, you know, cleanliness and different things, and health and nutrition, because they don't get that kind of information. And so on the way back on the plane, I was just like really like thinking about all the kids there and like if there was any way I could help them. So I decided to start Lead the World, which is an organization where I raise money. So in my school, I gathered around a ton of different kids who wanted to show off their talents, and I put on like kind of like a talent show. And so I charged tickets for it, and then all the money went towards the kids in the orphanages, and I raised about $3,000. So yeah, that was something that was really, like, it really touched my heart when I saw all of them and how much it meant to them. I also have Bhakti, which is an online business that I have, and it's basically to promote helping the environment, because I think that global warming is a really important issue, and I really believe in helping the environment. So I sell all like different materials that are made of like pure organic stuff and all like environmentally friendly. And yeah, so those are a couple of the things I do. And I just want to thank all of you for being here, and I want to thank Dr. Selvi and Shanti Auntie.
Now for the entertainment part of the evening, I'd like to welcome the Hawaiian dancers.
Aloha! Oh, come on. Aloha! Aloha! Thank you. I've been sitting here and listening. I'm so inspired by this conference that you guys are having, and I'm so touched, and thank you for inviting us to share. We are Island Style Luau Entertainment. We came all the way from Woodbridge, Virginia. And I was born and raised in Hawaii. To make a long story short, I'm here for better opportunities for my kids and myself. But without further ado, we like to do some numbers for you. And in Hawaii, how many of you been to Hawaii? Oh, a few people. Okay, so in Hawaii, the word aloha means three things. Okay, aloha means hello. Aloha means goodbye. And can anybody guess the last? Love. And I felt that today, and I'm so inspired by the speeches that were given, and congratulations to all of you that was awarded today. Coming from an island and being here in the United States is such a blessing to watch other people like you all, and come out here and make a difference in your community. And I'm so proud to be here to share our culture with you today. So without further ado, we'd like to do a couple of numbers for you. We hope you enjoy. Thank you, and have a good evening.
This has been such a wonderful event. And Dr. Kumar, again, thank you very much. You weren't in the room when I thanked you the last time, but I wanted to say that again. And, you know, behind every great event is a great woman. And come back in the room, Shante. Dante. I just wanted to say what a wonderful job she has done. And I don't know if you heard what I said, behind every great event is a great woman. And you have done a wonderful job. I just met you yesterday, but I feel like I've known you a lifetime. Your sweetness, your open arms, your loving ways, and you surely are a shining memory of this event, and peace be with you. Thank you very much.
So we're coming to the close of the evening, and it's been a fascinating day, and we hope that you found this conference informative and worthwhile. Congratulations to all of the awardees on receiving the Grand Achievers Award. I'd like to thank all of our wonderful chief guests for sparing your precious time and for inspiring us with your stimulating speeches. Our sincere thanks to all of the participants who are the reason behind this event. This has been a unique opportunity to interact and meet the best of the best and exchange thoughts and ideas. My heartfelt thanks to Dr. Janani for being exceptionally helpful and for doing a fabulous job with carrying out the program. I also take this opportunity to extend our most sincere thanks to all of our guests, invitees, who have come from different destinations, and for their support and kind cooperation. Your presence helped make this event a success, and your enthusiasm and positive spirit helped make our time together both fun and productive. We wish you all the best and hope that you could continue to be engaged with the International Peace Council. We wish you a safe journey back home and a pleasant evening. But of course, we have dinner at 6 o'clock downstairs in the atrium.
More to eat.
More food, more fun. So, networking hour and or get some rest, and please do join us back for dinner at 6 o'clock down in the atrium, so 6 to 8. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.